Hello.
What's going on, Harriet?
Listen, I have to confess, I'm hungover. It's not that it's bad, but I think that might make this better.
Yeah, 100. Ride that energy. Do you know what I mean? On the flip of that, you know, I turned 30 about 4-5 weeks ago or something now.
Oh, happy birthday, Christian! I didn't know that.
Do you know what I mean? I got mashed up for a week and I've not had a drink since. I feel like.
Oh my god! Listen, I was sober for 90 days. That I was like genuinely trying to be sober, and then we went to a Halloween party last night, and there was a free bar. Like, does that happen in London? No, never. And I was like, well, obviously, I'm going to make the most of this.
Where was it?
Oh, it was somewhere in West London in like a loft. It was a guy who's a party planner, so it was like it was like sick. I'd never seen anything like it. I met will.i.am.
What? Fuck off! Was he?
I was chatting to will.i.am in the smoking area, and I was so pissed. I kept calling him William. Let me show you. I took a picture of him with my handbag. That I just designed a handbag. I'll tell you about it. Here he is.
You kill me.
How funny is that? I was like, listen, William, here's the thing about creativity.
Mate, that's amazing. No,
and I said to him, I was like, listen, I have to go because I'm on a podcast tomorrow morning.
I love that. I love that we take priority over will.i.am.
You do. So if I start like progressively getting worse, you know why? But I've had 2 paracetamol and a Big Mac for breakfast. So.
Mate, you kill me. What's been going on with the eyebrow situation project?
Oh, that thing. Listen, I've wanted to dye my eyebrows for so long, and I was like, why not for Halloween? But it's permanent.
I fucking love you, Harriet.
I saw the picture of the blonde hair dye last night, and I was thinking, where's this going? And then I missed
it. Yeah. See, I look bad blonde. Like, I've tried blonde before. It doesn't work. I don't look good. And I had loads of men message me, and they were like, oh, going to be a hot blonde, are we? And I was like, wait till you see these bad boys.
I never know what's real and not, though, because the Photoshop skills are on. You know what I mean? So
I know, it's painful.
You know what I mean? So I have to check myself.
I never know what's real or not. I'm always like, is that true or not? I don't know.
Harriet, you kill me. Well, listen, welcome to the What Does Your Mum Think podcast. Thank you so much for aligning. We were just talking then before we got on. Like, we've been trying to chat and meet up and for how long?
Oh my god, for so long.
You know what I mean? And it's just like I've not even spoke to Michael. He's been away for 3 months. Literally, the first time I caught up with him was the past 10 minutes on his fucking pod before.
Oh no!
You know,
how are you doing? How are you doing, Michael?
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Last time I spoke to you it wasn't a good time, Harriet.
Why?
We were supposed to do the podcast.
Yeah.
And me and Christian were drowning under 2 or 3 projects, like drowning fucking I was in deep water. And then I was moving all my stuff into a storage container because I was going to China for 3 months with pretty much a year plan with my family. And then I lost my laptop. Then I left my laptop on there.
Oh fuck! No. Did you get it back or what?
Yeah. So the next day I went back and someone had kindly, I can't believe it, someone had kindly left it 2 stations down.
Oh my god, that never happens.
I went over to the to like the lost and found, and they were like, "Is this your bag?" I was like, "Oh my god, that's my bag." And I was thinking, how heavy is this bag though? Because that's going to determine if my laptop's in it or not. And it weighed a fucking ton. My laptop was in there. And
I literally wouldn't. That never happened. That does not happen. I'm so glad.
Harriet, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, never.
We don't have to
I'm glad you got it back.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Are we recorded now, by the way?
Yeah, we're on.
Yeah, we're in.
Oh fuck! Wait, can I just brush my hair 1 second? Listen, the thing is, I thought, like when do you know who Kesha is?
Maybe.
Yeah, wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy. That Kesha.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought like Kesha's hot. When she wakes up and she looks like she's like not got dressed or like cleaned her teeth. I don't know how well this is going to go down when I watch this back, but I think I am still drunk, so we'll see.
Nah, you're sweet. Better energies, do you know what I mean? Like I said, it's always not better energies, do you know what I mean? But riding the energies.
Exactly. Is it annoying if I drink? Because I think I might be the most dehydrated.
I've just had my fucking breakfast while me and Michael were talking, so I think it'll be sweet again. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them.
Harriet, if you change your mind, we can get Lewis, our producer, to put your eyebrows back on.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Because listen, I am changing my mind now. I'm seeing it in the light of day. I don't have any expressions. Like I can't be like surprised or upset because you can't tell.
You're killing it. Like, we have like a really loose structure. Obviously, we've got you to send through like a few bits of work, and we've chronologically, like we're going to talk through that. But hopefully, serendipitously through that, talk about things that come to mind. And do you know what I mean? But right off, straight up, we always take it naturally, right back to the start. We've got like sections in it, so we're going Harriet the student first.
Oh my god, look at me like manipulating the story already.
It was mad because like we planned it like this, and then when you sent the work through, just fell into place. So
it was crazy, Harriet, because we were like, yeah, Harriet's got split personality disorder. She's a designer.
My therapist would agree with you on that, Michael.
She's an activist. She's an artist. So we started to structure it that way, and then when you sent through your portfolio and you was like student design, and we're obviously going to get to good Harrison. Good Harrison, going to get confused now. Good Richardson, bad Richardson as well at the end. So don't worry.
No, not the bad Richardson.
Harriets today.
Yeah.
Yes, maybe we take it back further than the student, because obviously you grew up in a creative family. With your dad, obviously Peter Richardson.
Shout out.
Man like. And obviously your mother as well. Which I have regretfully forgotten the name.
Kay Richardson, Christian.
I'm really sorry. I should check the research, you know what I mean, wasn't there? What was life like growing up in a creative household like that? I can always remember the little games and stuff like that.
The squiggle game. I talk about that a lot because I do lecturing sometimes now at the moment. Like I'll go to different universities and talk to students and stuff. And I always use like the games that I played as a child, like for like warm up exercises and stuff. And it's really funny because it just makes me. I mean, I'm so grateful that I grew up in a creative household. I think it's basically like why I am how I am now. But most of the time, I didn't even realize it. Like I thought that was just, obviously you do when you're a kid, you just think that's normal. So we'd play like guess the font in the car, like, and you'd be driving past a cafe and Dad would be like, "What's that font?" And I'd be like, "Helvetica," or I probably didn't get it right. But yeah, and so now looking back at it, that's like really funny that I've been sort of formed like that from a really early age. And like I always start with, I'm really grateful. Like obviously it's incredible, and I'm super like just happy that I got to grow up in that way. But then it also has its drawbacks that like you said, both my parents are graphic designers, so I never thought I would be anything other than a graphic designer, whether that's good or bad. I sort of, when you get to choose what career you're going to do or like what thing you're going to study, I was like, well, obviously it's graphic design. Why would I ever think of anything else? And I think in some ways that can be quite constraining because, graphic design is a very sort of small section of creativity as a whole. It's like not just industry, but like a bigger way of like thinking. So, I think I've done things in reverse where I started as like a graphic designer and I was like, this is me, I'm totally figured out. And now I couldn't be less figured out as I get like older and older. So it's really interesting, but I love it. I mean, it's nice also, I know this is called like, what does your mum think? And like, I got to ask my mum what she thought, and she's a graphic designer, do you know what I mean? So it's really funny because I know you meant to ask someone who isn't a designer, like about your ideas. And I was pretty much surrounded by them. Fuckers.
Was there any other thing when you made that decision to obviously go to college, and I can imagine you studied graphic design at college and then university, obviously that's where we met. Was there anything else that you kind of explored the possibilities of doing?
No, literally not at all. I mean, like, and not even just that. It went beyond that because I always had this opinion that like any other creative form, like any like artists or whatever, I don't know, like that it was like a waste of time because it wasn't, I think graphic design is seen as this thing that is useful because you make money at the end of it, and it's like a feasible job that creatives can have. And I think I had this mindset that like it's the only way to be a successful creative person. Do you know what I mean? So I really like, and I only know that now from, you know, knowing so many creative people and being on this like, you know, like journey of oh my god, it sounds so wanky, like journey of self-discovery.
100 though, you know what I mean?
So I would say I was super small-minded at university and college. I was just like, I'm a designer, no one can touch that.
Yeah. So that, I mean, love this into uni, do you know what I mean? So we were saying before, I always remember the Twitter card that you did, obviously. Do you know what I mean? And I always remember thinking, there's the levels.
I still use that I still show people that. I'm kind of proud of it. But then also, like, God, I don't want to put a negative spin on everything, but it's so hard to not look back critically. And when I look back at that, I'm like, I would never make something for Twitter now. Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? But yeah, no, I mean, like, the theme, I think, of our university, really, of UCLan, it's just about like finding little ideas and things. That was like the whole thing, wasn't it? So I loved it.
Yeah, what's nice about the Twitter piece though is and I think what's so good with your work, Harriet, is that it's culturally relevant. And I've noticed that artists that work towards creating work which is culturally relevant, I think it can stick in the mind of everybody rather than just for owners or just for a certain purpose for a brief. So I think there's a lot going on here. So I know you mentioned about whether you would do it again for Twitter or not, or X now. I mean, could you get a Christmas tree in X? I don't know.
Xmas.
I think that's still about all right. Say no more.
Yeah,
Done.
it's one of them, and I think when you look through that, I mean, I've had the similar things. You know what I mean? Like, when you're at uni, you don't really care. Not that you don't really care, but like you said, I just don't think you're really aware of the bigger meaning behind things.
Yeah, not at all. Like, the thing I cared about was if it was like a well-known brand. Do you know what I mean? And that extended all the way. That extended all the way through to like when I got a job. I just wanted it to be at a place that was well-known, that people cared about, that did big companies. Like, because I think as a student, you're also proving something a lot. Or at least I felt like I had to prove something when I first got a job, so it had to be like impressive. And like I said, now I just like would not touch like half the brands that I've worked with, you know, as a younger designer, for sure.
Them observations are still fucking pure and beautiful.
I know, isn't it annoying?
It still made me kick myself to this day when I look at them. So, I mean, I think that's a good. Can we just flick through a few of them, Lewis, please, if you don't mind? Just pulling them up and just pull this first section up. Excuse me.
Look at me branding it.
Exhibit A. Yeah.
This one still stands. Listen, this is hard to look at hungover, but it's funny, isn't it? Because I was sort of worried whether it was too sort of strained. Because I know you like, the nice thing is that I've not, you know, added anything that wasn't already there, which I think is like, I would say my ultimate goal in pretty much any design is to not add anything that's not needed. But at the same time, I'm like, do you read it as cheers? I don't know. I'm being critical today, guys. Sorry.
I think you do. You know what I mean? Them moments, that's it, innit? Do you know what I mean? Then the feeling when I get, like, I've said this a few times on the pod, but I always remember when I was first at college and they pulled up FedEx and I didn't see it and the tutor told me.
Oh, yeah.
I had to be told it was there. And I was like, that feeling was like, and I want to do that. And when I get that feeling looking at it, I'm a fan. I'm a massive fan. I love
that. That's so funny. No, I think, but like credit also to the projects, like, you know, the 10-week briefs that I think are pretty much famous now at like the University of Central Lancashire. And like it's the fact that you have to do them so quickly that you can't care too much. You know, you have like a day or a week, I can't remember how long, but you know, you have to be unprecious. And I think that first 10 week like brief thing is just so important for that. Because, you know, if you spent a month on this, you would probably like fucking like do it to death. Do you know what I mean? It'd be horrible because you'd like overdo it so much and it'd be all this like thing it didn't need to be. So I think there's a beauty in like not having a lot of time to do stuff, which actually, I suppose, interestingly now is a theme when I'm doing process work, that more often than not, you find out about the process in the morning, you have to go by lunchtime. There's like it's basically a, an hour brief of like, what can I write? What will people understand? How do I show it? Like, I like that sort of immediacy, I think.
I do. I hear that, You can, when we were speaking to, was it Paul Pateman Pate? He was saying with his illustrations, he gets like little finds in his illustrations, and then he can easily overwork them. But he can do an hour and then sit there for the afternoon trying to make it better and just fucking about adding stuff that doesn't need to be added.
Yeah, and it's such a I realize when I do that, like if I do have the luxury of time to be able to fuck around with something, that it's just not helpful. Like I end up like really getting pissed off with myself and just being back at the start most of the time. So I think that's why I work on so many things at once as well, because it's like I only have so much time and capacity to like give to each of the things. Yeah, I could definitely work myself into a hole for sure.
But even that, what you said is interesting, because having that, I find it too. I like having a couple of projects on at the same time, because I'll find something on one and then my subconscious will take it naturally into the other one. And so you're always got that kind of flip kind of mode to be able to.
Or if I'm being lazy, I do it with fonts. I'll just use the same font on everything.
100%. I'll open an old file, what I've been doing. I'll
be like, oh no, they all look the same. Yeah, exactly. They do that. Like I did that at Pentagram with John as well. Like we literally, I'd be on 3 things at once, and the restaurant would look like the hotel, would look like the charity I was working at. I was like, oh no, they're all the same thing.
Let's keep going through them, Lewis. I think there's a few more in there, isn't there?
Oh. This is still the best thing I've ever done. I'll never do anything better than this. And I know it. It's quite a humbling thought. Do you know why I like it so much? And I don't know if you're allowed to like say that you love your own work, but this is the project that I like. I feel like sums me up quite well. I like it because it's dirty. That's it. No, because it's like a bit dirty. Like it's a bit like, tongue in cheek. Yeah. But then it's kind of clever, I suppose. And it also just like, for some reason, which is one of those where it just fit perfectly into each of the applications. Like I could sit here and say I planned it all and it took, like forever to think of it and blah, blah, blah. But it was just one of those where I think it was just late at night and I thought maybe I could do I came up with extra saucy first and thought that's quite funny. Mm-hmm. And then I think the bottle, I was like, oh, you spank a bottle, like saucy. And then, the other two were just like a gift. So
really good.
Do you think this project's helped you find yourself, Harriet? Because I think
I think so. I would say so, yeah.
A lot of your work, with the copywriting, the naughtiness of it, but also like the cleverness of it as well.
I would say if I look at all my university stuff, this is the one where I feel like I could make the strongest link between like what I'm doing now and the work I did then. Again, like, the only thing that makes me sort of like cringe about this is I don't know how helpful it is to like design Valentine's Day ketchup. Do you know what I mean? Or I'm really conscious now that I want things to be like helpful or meaningful or like not just putting plastic into the world. And again, this feels like it's that thing, isn't it? Like as a student, it would not even have crossed my mind, like, even if someone said to me, but what's the end goal? Like, what's the bigger picture? I would have been like, it's just a good project. Like, don't think about it too much. Do you know what I mean? But I can't, I think just the way that we think now, I just can't like look at it and be 100%, standing behind it. By the way, these are still in uni and they're black. They're literally black, like the ketchup. It's disgusting. I don't know why they don't just get rid of them. They're literally horrible. They've gone to like tar at the bottom of the thing. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Really good. Awesome. Is there any more in here?
I hope so. Oh, that one.
On the Twitter.
Well, kind of briefly spoken about it, but this is a gem.
I think the only other thing I would say about this Twitter one is like, so the brief, it didn't actually answer the brief. The brief was to come up with a Christmas card for an occupation, like a plumber or a, welder or a baker or something. Yeah. And obviously this isn't an occupation, it's a brand. And like, it didn't answer the brief. And I remember, I was being tutored by Ben Casey at that time, like when I did this. And I think I remember him saying, like, it's not really answering the brief though, is it, Harriet? And I was like, yeah, but fucking look at it, it's great. So I think like it makes me think of like, even if something isn't like what someone asked of you, you can still stand behind it and think like, no, I'm just gonna do this. Do you know what I mean? You don't like, I think the thing about university is you're guided so much, like so heavily at the beginning, and it's sort of about finding your own rhythm and like your own drive behind work. And this was one of those moments where I think I made like an alternative to answer the actual brief, but then this was the one that I sort of like had in my portfolio and like pushed because it was the thing I believed in rather than the thing I was told to do. Yeah. And I see that a lot now when I'm like teaching at universities, that there's a moment when the students suddenly sort of care more about what they're doing and see it as a reflection of themselves rather than something they've been asked to do. But it's a transition.
Yeah, I did read a quote from you a while ago, Harriet, and I was trying to find it. I think it was on your Instagram. I was trying to find it the other day, but
I probably made it up, Michael. It like you say a quote, I probably just wrote it and said.
No, 100%. That's probably what you did do, but it was, it was very empowering for me, and I'm sure for everybody else who read it. It was, I'm going to paraphrase it, but basically, you said, I didn't like, don't listen to your tutors, don't listen to your parents, don't listen to your colleagues. Yeah, and it basically said just do whatever the fuck you want.
Exactly.
You know which sentence or which quote I'm talking about?
I 100% do, because it's something that I talk about when I'm teaching. I have this. I'll have to send it to you. Like this process, I wrote down once, like the process of how I think of things. Like just generally, it doesn't even have to be in graphic design, just any idea. And sort of towards the end, I was like, you have to ask people for feedback. That's really important, because if you work like an island, it's never going to be better than just your thoughts and your, you need input. But then at the end of the day, after you've had all the input and you've refined it, it's so vastly important that it's your, sorry, I just burped. It's so vastly important that it's your, favorite thing, or that it's your decision that you made, that creatively you chose to pursue, because you have to stand behind it. I remember like at university, I did this project once. It was like a branding project for a pigeon festival. And it was just diabolical. Like the whole thing was bad. Like, just one of those where you can't get into it. I didn't really understand what I was doing. And I'd come up with loads of different routes. And I got one of the tutors to choose a route, and I said, I don't know what to do. And it was the worst work I'd ever done. And I believe that was because I didn't get to a point where I believed any of them were good. I just got someone else to like choose it. And I think that was a really good learning point, because now I just wouldn't do something if I didn't, at least think it was a goodish idea. So yeah, definitely follow that advice, Michael.
Thank you. That festival brief was brutal for you as well, wasn't it, Christian?
Fucking still haunts me.
Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I think, I don't know what I would do now for it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. What did you do? Ice cream. I remember.
Ice cream, and it was so fun. And like looking back at it, I did fucking hell. When I look back at it, it looked actually a bit like a penis head, but like be of Blackpool in pink, as you can imagine. Yeah. No counters in it.
Wait, we both have Blackpool then. Maybe that's the curse. Fucking my God. I remember Christian in that library at like 2 a.m. on that ice cream thing. And
I remember that. It's fucking hell, Jesus.
Can we redo them? I think I might take a month out of all my work and just redo it.
I've always said one day I would like, because like I said, all the elements, so I had these like little characters and stuff. I just didn't get the thing. I still am obviously obsessed with ideas. Like I didn't know how to pace a big idea, like and get like big idea, so to say. I didn't know how to pace it into small little things, and but you need them projects, and it's what you're saying. It's like I needed that carcass of a project to check myself. And then I remember going to TD, and like when I first walked into TD, right, and the first project I got was like the exterior project. I was working closely with Bruce on it, and obviously my idea got picked for the anamorphic thing, and it was like, right, do the interiors. Do you know what I mean? And I tried getting a fucking obviously. And I tried getting everything, the toilet signs, the fucking this and that, instead of and instead of just distilling it all down to curry pencil through as a narrative, and then how to build it up here and there and just play with this, and that being enough. Like it took me a good while. Like I get feedback briefs just to change the typeface, and it'd be like, no, we can change it because X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? Like it's working smart and not hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so true. But I think also you need that kind of energy when you leave university, though. That's the alternative is not coming up with an idea for anything. So I think even though it's kind of cringe to look back at, and like some of the stuff I tried to like propose to creative directors, and I'd be like, and you just look back and think, oh my God, how horrific. But at least it's too many ideas and not, none. Yeah.
I still do it. I do it respectfully now. I do what I should do.
Yeah.
But you could. You know what I mean? Still,
yeah, it's so true.
Ever not do that. And I mean, let's go deeper on that. But and then so obviously, we did placement. Yeah. How long have we got you for, Harriet? Because I know you got an exhibition after this.
My exhibition's at 2 p.m, so don't worry about it. Okay. Yeah. You can keep me on.
Lovely. So we've got placement year then. So obviously we all did placement year in between second and third.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
I think that was life-changing, honestly. Like they always said that, and I was like, yeah. And then even just like the move to London and seeing like a bigger, city with loads going on and exhibitions and free drinks and like, all this kind of stuff that never happened in, Preston, bless it. I love Preston, but it's not got the creative scene that London has. And and then obviously meeting all the people, doing like this shit work, and just thinking, I can't believe I'm actually in an agency and I get to like do this. I was just so grateful, I think, as well. I met, my best friend in placement year. I met pretty much like all the friends I met then, I'm still friends with now. And I remember I didn't want to leave, like it got to the end of the year and you had to go back to university for a year. And I was like, I can't do it. Like, I literally can't leave. It was horrible. And I used to get the train every weekend to London, like after I came back to Preston. I didn't pay for it, obviously. No one can afford that. I couldn't afford that now. I'd like hide in the little toilet. That was so bad. And I used to just come back and like, I just felt like I had like the worst FOMO ever when I left. But yeah, it was transformative. And I think like, again, it's such a cliche, but I learned more in that, year of being in placement than I did in, 17 years of education or however long. Because you just do. I mean, it's also like, it feels more like survival. Like you can't really sit in an agency and not come up with an idea or like not make everyone a cup of tea or not cut something out. It just feels like you always have to be doing something. So even by way of that, I think, you just learn so much. And I would encourage anyone to do it. I see such a difference in the students that have done a placement as opposed to the ones that, didn't get the opportunity. And not to say, you can't be an incredible designer or artist if you don't do one, but I just think it's such a sort of fast track to understanding like the industry. It's great.
Context is everything sometimes, and it can really help having that. I must have been a fucking nightmare.
God, I feel like I probably saw you. I think probably at Blue Marlin or something. Blue Marlin was one of my best ones. I'm not even sure if they're.
God, yeah.
Oh no, is my video gone all weird?
You have a little bit, but we'll take it. It's all good.
Do I look even stranger?
You don't look strange anyway. Do you know? But I don't know.
What the hell? I've never seen that before. Does it look like I have alopecia, or is that just on my screen?
Lewis, is that because of connection or something? Just anything that goes wrong, we just shout Lewis. We go, Lewis!
Wait, I'm turning it off and on again. There we are.
We're back. It must have been. I had a good one at Blue Marlin, to be honest, as well. I remember went over to the bath studio and had madness at the bath studio too.
Oh my God. I got disciplined because I frisbeed a naan bread off the roof and it hit someone. And like, I don't even know how you get in that position. I was so devastated. I was drunk, obviously, and I was so upset that I'd like jeopardized my placement by like hitting someone with a naan bread. But they're memories, I think, like you just, I'm just so grateful.
We always talk about it like we lived a fucking champagne lifestyle on a lemonade budget, and like the things we did on places we went, do you know what I mean? And like it was like things I don't even do now. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I know. I was just thinking that like
we were going to like Shoreditch House on a regular.
It was though.
Time. At the same time, I was stealing toilet rolls from one of the places as well. I had no fucking money. Honestly, it was insane.
No. Yeah. Literally, like, genuinely, I could not even get close to doing that now. Like, I used to not go home for like 2 days and like turn up to work and be like, "Hi, morning," and like I have to get like 8 hours sleep and have 2 liters of water now.
Jesus Christ, I have a fucking big meal now too close to bedtime and I'm filled with regret. You know what I mean? Never mind staying out and necking 6 pints, then waking up and a Mackey's on the way home. There's no
way. And I looked good. Like I would come in like probably definitely still drunk, like having just vomited in like on the tube or something, and be like, "Hiya." And I just can't believe, like, what the fuck? But you don't, like, you just have to like appreciate it when it happens, which no one ever does. Like, I sound so old now, but I just think, there's that like carelessness that's both worrying and really fun, I think, when you're a student. And that's also like where creativity thrives, I think, when you don't have to, like, now obviously I have to make my rent at least, you know, and all that kind of shit, and food, and my cat has to eat treats, and I'm just like, you know, at least when you're a student, the only thing you really have to worry about is getting to work on time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of reductive. Obviously, they also have to now worry about the cost of living crisis. But I think your worries are hopefully less than they will be when you're older. And it's just freedom.
Yeah, you become.
We'll do it again.
Yeah, you become more aware, don't you? Do you think? Yeah, but right. Well, I think that's lovely, and right. I think that's a nice conclusion of section 1 of Harriet the student, so to say.
Yes.
And now it's moving into exhibit B. Harriet the designer.
Yeah, I feel like we're building up to me dying. Like, is this the end?
One of the questions is sort of about your legacy, but anyway, we'll get to that at the end. But, so we call this Harriet the designer, but sort of in quotation marks, really Harriet the activist, because when we look through this now, you basically you've shove all your design on one sheet.
Yeah, she was like, those 6 years, don't worry about that.
Well, yeah, let's go Harriet the designer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really condensed it down. So the reason I condensed it down so much is, like, I don't mind talking about this stuff. It just doesn't like spice me up as much as talking about the other stuff does. This is like a collection of logos, brands, I suppose, that I like created or rebranded when I was at Pentagram. So I was at Pentagram for 5 years, and I worked, like, the structure depends from partner to partner, like how you work. But my team I worked with partner John Rushworth, and we worked very much sort of solo for a lot of the creative process. So you get your brief, you come up with your ideas alone, you know, you can, like, obviously speak to people, but it's very much like on you from the beginning to the end, you know, to production. And that's terrifying, obviously, because if it gets fucked up, it's you that fucks it up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also probably like a total gift, because I would never ever have done so many brands if it wasn't for like that process of having to just like smash it out, you know, solo. And it's such a mad place to learn. I can't even tell you. Like, I thought I knew quite a lot when I joined Pentagram, and that just makes me laugh now, because I just can't believe how little I knew about basically everything. And that's not just, you know, it's not because I was like unprepared at uni or whatever. It's just like stuff you cannot learn not working in an agency, if that makes sense.
Yeah. We've not been to Pentagram. We've not been to Pentagram, Harriet, so what can you tell us?
Okay, here's what I can tell you about Pentagram. How long have you got? It's okay, I'm going to start with the positives. I think the thing about Pentagram is it feels like Disneyland or something. Like, it feels mythical until you've been there and worked there, and then you kind of see behind the scenes and you realize that, you know, it is effectively just it is just a, you know, a design agency. Not to, like, you know, belittle anything they do, because I think it's brilliant, but they, you know, no matter which agency you're at, they have briefs and clients and money they have to make and people they have to fire, and, you know, it's like, it's still a place that, you know, people work at. They have free dinner, free lunch even, which is great, especially when you're a poor designer, which if you work at Pentagram you will be. Shade. They're not like famous for being, they're not famous for their pay. But then they have that sort of attitude where, you know, you're sort of lucky to work there, and I understand, you know, why that is the way it is. And yeah, I mean, it's so one of the biggest benefits of Pentagram that I didn't realize when I joined was the structure of it, because it's quite unique as opposed to, you know, standard agency structures. I think at standard agencies, you have a sort of top down like triangle where you have the owner at the top, and then the creative directors, then the design directors, then the seniors and the juniors and whatever. And it's in that sort of like triangle formation. And at Pentagram, because you have so many small teams in this massive you know, company, you have sort of the benefit of working with your partner like as an individual, you know, really closely and learning a lot. But then you have the benefit of it being like massive and working on insane brands and like, you know, the exposure and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, I'd say that was actually the biggest benefit of it. You know, you meet so many different people with different occupations. It's not just graphic design. They have music design and, you know, product and everything, and all these different niches. And it was amazing, and I loved it. And I also hated it because it's a job that you get paid for. And like, I think, you know, after the excitement sort of dies down a bit, and I've been working there for a few years, and I get put on, you know, jobs that are like a year long maybe instead of a few weeks long, and you have to find that like stamina in yourself as well, and sort of absorb that, yeah, it is a job. Do you know what I mean? And maybe that's something that I think most creatives will probably struggle with at some point, is like, people always say, you know, if you have a job you love, you won't work a day in your life. And I kind of, although I understand the sentiment, I think that it's a really dangerous place to be, to monetize what you love and then feel bad if you're not loving it. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I definitely got to that point in Pentagram where I was like, I'm so lucky, everyone would kill for this job, I'm getting paid to do creative work, but there was something missing. And it was just the, you know, the fact that I felt like I'd like gotten somewhere and it wasn't what I thought it would be, basically. And that somewhere wasn't Pentagram, it was being paid to do creative work. I think you just feel like you should be grateful for anything that comes your way. Do you know what I mean? Like working on a hotel or whatever. Like, yeah, I don't think it has to be like that now.
No. I love what you just said then. Doing what you love and feeling bad for not loving it. That deep, that, bro.
Yeah, where did that come from? I'm gonna write that down.
Like, that's why we're chopping that one. That one's getting section. That's going on the first post on the Instagram.
Listen, that's good.
That's great, Harriet. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a really good perspective in it. Do you know what I mean? And I think that leads definitely to what you're doing now and the freedom you've obviously not getting ahead of the exhibits, but you can definitely see that coming through. So yeah, interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah, I can tell you about this pivotal moment then at Pentagram, which I think comes up next in the slideshow of my life.
Just before you run away from Pentagram, was there any ways of working which you took from Pentagram, which you use now, or were the things?
What sort of typographic kind of like gems and like all the little
secrets? Michael, I learned some rules. Like, I learned some typographic rules that I will never forget. The thing is, like, definitely each partner obviously has their strengths and like what they just know. And I work with John, like I said, and he does high-end luxury, predominantly hotels and you know, sort of hospitality. And that's a sector I never thought of working. I mean, I'm not like I love a high-end luxury hotel, don't get me wrong, but like I was never down for like, you know, designing gorgeous. I made menus made of green leather that cost like £100 each for a menu. And it had like gold embossing on it. And I was like, this is insane. But yeah, there's some very literal rules I can tell you about that John sort of instilled in my brain that feels like even if I wanted to get away from it, I couldn't. Like, a good type one is he only works in multiples, like when he's doing editorial design. So like the title, if it's 100 point, then the next one down, like the next smaller font will be 50 point, and then the body would have to be 25, and like it has to be multiples of itself. And like obviously I think a lot of designers would disagree with that and say it's quite constraining, but it's actually quite nice to start at a point where that is the rule. And then you know, I really struggle with editorial design and that really helped. So he always works in multiples. What else is there? he just has like funny things that I mean, obviously I started using a grid at Pentagram, which I never did before then, and seeing the value in that. Oh yeah, I like, so something that I took from him that I always like tell clients now is the difference between a logo type and an icon, and all the different kinds of logos that you can have, and the importance of them and why you might need them. So for example, like Apple, with the apple, it only gets away with being an icon because of how big it is now, like because it is an icon brand. But if you get a small like boutique like a small boutique coffee shop that come to you and say like, oh, I really need a logo and we want it to be as iconic as Apple, there's already like a mistake in that, and you'll never fulfill the brief. You have to make them understand like what it is they actually need before you do the work. So much of his work and his talent, it comes even before you start designing. It's getting people to understand like what they need and why they need it, which I thought was so good, because now I don't really fuck things up from the beginning, because if you've got all those parts in place and you understand like that company needs a logo, like a logo type, because they need people to understand how the name's written and who they are, because the market's so saturated with brand names, then you can't really go wrong after that. I know that's probably really boring, but it's quite.
I love it. No, it's important.
He definitely taught me like getting the structure right before you begin the work is like vital to it being good.
Yeah, 100%. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
for some reason it made me think about, I don't know why, but have you seen the Eddie Bauer thing recently? The Eddie Bauer logo thing.
Oh, yeah. I saw it on Instagram.
And the rationalization for why they fucking changed it, because kids don't get taught cursive writing in school. That's fucked. Do you know what I mean?
It's literally mental. I know, it's crazy. It's like, but then there is like, I'm not a big fan of strategy. I know we've probably all worked with strategists, and it's just like, a lot of the time it feels like stuff that you would just know, or like, but there is definitely a value in understanding like the audience and how things change and the impact that can have. By the way, totally unrelated, I heard yesterday, probably on TikTok, that an airline changed the paper that they printed their menus on from like 300 GSM to like 210 GSM. Right. And the weight difference that it caused on each flight saved them like $700,000 a year because of the weight difference. Isn't that mental? Have you found it?
Crazy. Nice on this. Rapido. Love that.
Look at that. And like, listen, I've probably quoted every single part of it wrong, but like, even that, I don't know how it like links to what we were talking about, but it feels like someone did their research and like that's the result. It's crazy.
Yeah. No way.
Isn't that mental? There's been so many projects where like I did the research, I found something that someone else might not have found, and then that was the thing the client loved. Like that seems to be a theme as well. And John taught me that, I think, too, as well as, at university. If you find the thing no one else is looking at, then you'll find like a really good solution to the problem.
Really interesting. My brother's my brother's at uni doing criminology. So he wants to become a data analyst. He's just done his placement year. It was for a sector with like working with like universal credit and stuff like that. But what he wants to dive into is like the kind of stuff like that, you know what I mean? Where you kind of dig deeper, more so on the criminal side, whatever, policing. But it's interesting because we are kind of like little detectives. And do you know what I mean? Like, we get these briefs, and if you can go like deep into it and find the little blood stain on the plant, what everyone else wants, and then you present that back to the client, that kind of like that fucking nice moment, you know what I mean? Instead of showing them the big fucking blood splatter that everyone can see on the floor. You know what I mean? Bad analogy, but you know where I'm going with it.
Yeah. No, it's true, but that's also like a painful way to live. I think that should be acknowledged as well. Like designers, I think, are kind of tortured souls in that way. Like, have you ever tried to go and enjoy a meal and looked at the menu and thought, I can't even, like, what is that line spacing? Or like, it ruined your life.
I love it. I'm a fan of design. I'm a fan of the world around me. I love it. Do you know what I mean? If I'm going out with that kind of an experience, it's everything. I can pull up quotes on days, Bob Gill, like fucking, you design a laundrette, I'm going to sit in a laundrette. So if I'm doing a restaurant, I'm going to sit in that restaurant. But at the same time, to go in and doing as many, like when I go away with someone like my brother, we went to Barcelona recently, and when you go away with someone who's not a designer and don't look for lens of the world that you do, so to say, I'd like notice shit everywhere, and Callum was just like, "What the fuck are you going on about?" There's a taxi rank down the road from me, right? And it's a shitty taxi rank, but I love the way they've illustrated these little cars.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed. You know,
yeah.
Like, and I will never, ever stop looking at the work, and that's because of Andrew Bainbridge and the going back to the 1 week projects.
Yeah.
Looking for fucking faces everywhere and stuff like that. Like, I love it, you know.
Yeah, I simultaneously love it and hate it. What's that?
Christian, what do you say? You screen grabbed a conversation with your brother on FaceTime, and there was like a ghost in the light.
Last night. The cat fucking. I was on FaceTime. So
yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Oh no.
Last night. And Halloween in it, and the reflection of the fucking thing on the wall or on the ceiling looked like a cat just thinking,
"Oh my god,
don't move the camera, lad." He's like,
that's so good.
I love it.
It's like, it's simultaneously, for me anyway, it's like so enjoyable to be able to go through life and look at it through the lens of, you know, a creative person, but then also, like, if there's a full stop missing anywhere in any capacity, I'll find it. I can tell you when there's been a double space. I can like not enjoy life to that extreme where I'm like, like, yeah, it's like I think it's, you know, when you get a picture hanging on a wall and it's slightly off.
Yeah,
it feels like that, like, a lot of the time, and I think it's a gift, but also probably a bit of a curse as well.
Yeah. It's something sorry, Michael. I could go all day. I love it.
I just want to make sure that we're working through our list here, because, you know, we're talking about Harriet the designer now, and we've just been talking about Pentagram, and then when I asked you about the sort of the gems, they all sound like constraints. So
yeah.
So I think it'd be really cool now to talk to Harriet the activist and what that moment that you went through during Pentagram.
Yeah, I do love a constraint. So, yeah, I mean, like, so Pentagram was a constraining place, and it was also a place that allowed me to realize that wasn't good for me, you know, or like, that's not how my creativity was going to work. And there was this day in 2019, oh my god, that's so long ago now. 2019, there was a climate protest called Youth for Climate Strike. And I remember it so well, like the days leading up to it, and everyone was getting hyped. There was going to be like 100,000 people or more in central London. And I said to John, my partner, I think, you know, we should all go. Pentagram have to go to this, like, it's really important. And he wasn't a fan. He told me to, you know, take it as holiday initially. And I was like, fuck, you know, I didn't have any holiday left. And it just went on a bit like that. And I had this idea that I was going to email every single person at Pentagram other than John. It took me like 2 hours to write out everyone's email in my little, you know, inbox, and I sort of tried to rally the troops and get them to come with me, because I thought if I snuck out, you know, in a big group, then he wouldn't mind, you know, as much. Anyway, and I think in the end, maybe like 6 or 7 of us ended up going. And literally like 15 minutes before we left, I thought, we can't turn up to this protest empty-handed. Like, that would, you know, with graphic designers, that would be embarrassing. I know, you know, I hadn't been to a protest at that point before, but I thought, you know, I had a good idea that most people would probably come with some kind of placard or message. So I sat down with my friend Fatima, and we came up with these, honestly, probably in about 5 minutes. And some of them are shite. Like, some of them are so bad, some of them I've heard before, and some of them are like actually all right. And they were just all things that sort of linked to, you know, the world getting hotter and trying to like save the kids, basically. So I printed them all out on the Pentagram printer, ran out of the building. I think John was in a meeting that day for like a while. So I thought, I'm going to go there, go around for an hour, come back. He won't even know, like, he won't even know I've gone. So, yeah, I did that. I think, is there a next slide? Can I say next slide?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there we are with all the signs. And so I think Ricky Gervais stole my joke, basically, because I came up with this joke in 2019. Leonardo DiCaprio's girlfriends deserve a future. It's funny because all of his girlfriends are children. Like, they're all under the age of like 24 years old or whatever. So that was the concept. And I think this, you know, obviously they're pretty basic in design. The idea is that people have to see them from far away. That's pretty much the start and end of it, which is, you know, a principle of protest design, I would say. And And then the idea is the writing, the idea is like the I can't swim one, for example. It's about, the sea levels rising, and it's, it's a really heavy subject, I think, the climate and the world, and looking at it through a lens that's not as heavy, just to get people to talk about it or get people, engaging with the subject. It's an important thing to do. So even though people might say like, oh, you shouldn't be joking about things like that, I think you absolutely should be joking about things like that, because that's how people can approach them in a way that's not like sort of doom and gloom. So anyway, we went along to this protest. I was there for an hour. We got papped. There were like a few people like Vice and the BBC. And I think it's just because we had good signs. They were like, can we take pictures? So there I'm getting papped. That was funnier at the time. And then when I got, it starts to get less funny. So yeah, we're like getting papped. We go back to the office. I think John didn't even know I'd gone. Like he literally, like, he was still in his meeting. I thought, fucking hell, I can't believe I've gotten away with like doing something I cared about, had a really good time. It was such a good vibe, like no violence, no, nothing bad. It was just like such a lovely energy. Anyway, I got back to the office, like all good, couldn't believe I'd done it, like, and just got on with my day. And then the next thing that happened is probably on the next slide, if I've included it. Yeah. And then this is the moment where I was like, oh, fuck. And yeah, a guy from work sent me this article that said the incredible women who missed work. And I was like, you fucking kidding me? Could they like, and he was like, that looks like you, Harriet. And I was like, yeah, it kind of does look like me. Strange. And in the days that followed, like it got bigger and bigger. Like I think this was pre-TikTok. So it got like 3 million views overnight on Twitter. And that was like a big deal on, like back in the day when things weren't getting like millions of views. And I got like 5,000 followers on Instagram overnight. I was having like a panic attack thinking, fuck, I'm going to lose my job. Like John's going to see it all. And eventually it was in the Guardian. It was on like the front, like the second to front page of the Guardian or whatever, in the printed one and online. And I was like, I've lost my job at Pentagram. I can't believe it. It was horrendous. And I went into work the next day and I saw John, and like in the end he was just like, oh yeah, saw your protest sign, like well done kind of thing. But and it was like kind of a pivotal moment for me, because I thought, not only, I went along and did it because I wanted to do it and it felt authentic, and I just felt like I couldn't not do it. So something like drove me. But also I didn't get fired, bless him. And I think he respected that I'd, at least it's something to do with design. Do you know what I mean? I think he respected that I'd like use the tools that he's probably encouraged to go and, do something that I wanted to do. I don't think he cares too much about the climate, but I think he cared more about like maybe the expression of creativity or something. But so from this moment on, I kind of like, it's really funny because I know that life doesn't happen like in a sort of linear story, but it felt like this really was one of the points where after this, I started creating like what I would call now art, but like graphic posters for loads of different causes and things. And not only that, I worked with Extinction Rebellion, who I met at the protest, like one of the women that work for Extinction Rebellion. And from then, I did this logo. I did the recent campaign, 100 days, like, and it's totally pro bono, like, just a sort of labor of love, if you can call it that. But I would never have done that had I not gone to the protest. I wouldn't have met any of them. I wouldn't know what I know about, like the climate and stuff. And getting to work on this was insane. It's like a global protest thing, like a global, I suppose, a charity. And yeah, all from like an act of, I suppose, authenticity. Mad, mental. and even then, so like that even just was the beginning of it, like working with Extinction Rebellion, doing my own, like, carving out like a thing that I wanted to do, which it feels like political commentary or, provocation or whatever you want to call it. But it also opened my eyes to designing things, not for money, not for clients, just like because, do you know what I mean? It doesn't even have to be for a cause or a charity or whatever. It could just be because you thought of the idea and you wanted to do it, and it can basically start and end there, which is, where I am now, really. And again, I would never have had that had I not, yeah. I thought this work was kind of fun because I wanted to do like rebellious kind of like punk style brand for Extinction Rebellion, because a lot of the stuff I'd seen and the way it had changed in sort of like the recent months and year or so, it sort of runs the risk of getting a bit friendly, I suppose. And you want people to take it seriously. You don't want to scare them and be like, oh my god, the world's ending, but you also need it to feel a bit more like rebellious, I suppose. Like that is the core of what Extinction Rebellion are. So that's why I went down this route of like it being feeling a bit more radical and using these like cutouts from I had a little bit of fun because I used cutout images from like the Sun, which I obviously hate the Sun like newspaper, and they never cover the climate at all, but I thought, isn't that like a nice fuck you that I can use their imagery for like for the brand. That's a sun seagull at the front there. Yeah. But yeah, it was just mad.
Yeah. Oh, Harriet, you kill me. I love it. Fred, great at telling story too. Do you know what I mean? You completely draw me in. Are you still doing work with these now?
Yeah, it's ongoing. I mean, like for a sort of hippie-led movement, let's say, they have a lot of brand guidelines. I'm not gonna lie.
How tight are you to the brand, or is it more so
not too tight? I'm working quite high up with like basically the founders. So instead of I suppose if I was working with like a local group or something, we would have to follow like all the things. But I can effectively just try and like push in the ideas that I want, and they'll use them. Yeah. The only drawback I think I would say with working with pretty much most like non-profit charities and things is generally there's not one person that you're answering to and that you have to convince. It's like 100 people or like more. Yeah. And what was interesting about this brief, which I hadn't really done before, was it had to be usable by 100-year-old grandmas in like in the local town hall, and then like 6-year-olds that wanted to get involved. So that sort of style of like collage and basically copy and paste everything. It was it was done so that people could replicate it and it would still feel on brand. But yeah, so it was really interesting project to work on, and yeah, I'm continuing to be honest, it's changing so much, like the whole not only the way in which people talk about the climate and the movements that are sort of involved, but a lot of the people that I love at Extinction Rebellion that I've worked with are facing prison. So you can imagine that sort of like makes communication kind of hard. They're literally getting more time than like rapists and murderers for protesting in the UK, which is absolutely mental. And it happens on such a like low level, like no one reports about it, that all of these like they're like scientists, teachers, they're not like random rebels that you just found on the street. They're like intelligent people that have dedicated their lives to like making a difference, and they're getting locked up in prison for like years. So yeah, it makes doing projects a little bit more difficult. Wow. Yeah, mad. I've not been brave enough yet to get arrested, but I imagine I will be one day. I've got a cat I have to feed, so
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that we've been through all the work in there, right? There's no other bits in there what we're missing, right, from that section?
I think so. I didn't put too much graphic design in because, like I said, I care more about the process. Yeah. But that was sort of like towards the end of my time at Pentagram.
Yeah, and then that's a great transition to Exhibit C section.
Yay!
Which is Michael.
It is Harriet the artist.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, podcasting.
Love. Oh my god. Do you know what? Even calling myself an artist, right, and being from a working class Mancunian town, that's the hardest part about being an artist. Honestly, is like not sounding pretentious or like I'm wasting my time, because I just still have that tie to it where I think that artists are like, hippies that don't even need to get paid and just live in like communes. But that's not true for most of the time.
It's weird, isn't it? There is a fine line between it, and it's the way I see Andrew Bainbridge, and when we talk to all of our tutor, big up Andy in it every time, big up Andy every time. But it's the same thing with him and his work. Like, I know it's not as like obviously driven in regards to, you know what I mean, like Extinction Rebellion, but like the apocalypse thing. You know what I mean? It's just like it's done in a way where it's not perfect. It's just done it with cutouts and stuff, and it's artistic.
Yeah.
But it's still design, and then you could easily attach that to, I don't know, whatever you attach it to, you know.
Yeah.
So, but again, this is a nice transition. So,
well, it's interesting though with Andy, like you say, because I was emailing him like at the end of last year, I think, and I actually told him like I'd sort of segued out of having a permanent job in design. I wanted to let him know what I was up to, and I said I'm being an artist, like that's what I want to focus my time on. And he emailed me back and said something like, "Oh, I always wanted to be an artist," and I thought he is an artist. Like everything he does is art. Do you know what I mean? And like it's with being an artist, is the majority of the work is just calling yourself one. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I really genuinely believe that like a lot of the work that designers do, not just Andy, but like that designers do, it's reduced sometimes to being like design or brand work or, you know, a nice Instagram post, but it is art. It's just that you've not been trained to recognize that that's what it is. I think.
Yeah. You have the freedom when, I guess, again, correct me if you feel my opinions of it's in a different thing, but like when it's artistically driven from you, you put it out there as you want to put it out there, and you're not answering to anyone else's brief. It's not like you're taking direction. Oh, what do you think of this type? Oh, don't. You know what I mean? A room full of, say, marketing people say spending a budget, and everyone feels like they need to say, oh, that typeface isn't right, and this isn't, or anything like that. Like, you're just doing it for the freedom of doing it, and it'd still be the same thing. But I feel like you don't have that kind of barrier in between the Instagram post being for someone else's thing when it's. I'm butchering what I'm trying to say here.
No, you're so right, because I think the other differentiator that I see from doing more art now is there's an element in design that things can be right or wrong because they're appropriate or they're not, or they're effective or they're not, or they sell more things or they don't. And then in art, it's, you know, totally opinion based, so it can't be right or wrong, and it, you know, that's terrifying, that's awful, because then, you know, there's nothing to work to or for or whatever. And the other element is when you're like, something I loved about doing graphic design, I still design, by the way, and I have, you know, like anyway, we'll get into that, but that one of the things I really love about design is that it can be right or wrong, and therefore I can sell it better because I know that it's effective, or I know that this is right for that specific thing. And I feel like I know what I'm talking about, because like we were talking about before, there's rules you can follow, there's things that work and that don't work. And it's just so much easier, I think, to navigate in a sort of sensible way. And so if someone doesn't like a piece of design, then you can say, I understand that it's the way I've done the design and it might not be suitable for A or B or whatever. But if someone doesn't like a piece of your artwork that you've done and it's you know, an expression of self, you're just going to be like, oh, okay then. Like, oh, that's personal. Do you know what I mean? I think I don't take design personally like I do art. Yeah.
I feel like with the art though thing, like, isn't it because of that freedom of expression though? I think I'd be the flip of it though. Like, I feel like when you've done it for you, then it's like, fuck them. Do you know what I mean? To me, in a way, no. Again, my thing.
Yeah, no, it's true. Absolutely. Like, I think we're conditioned now to feel like if something doesn't get the engagement or the reception that you expected it to, then it's shit. But I know so many good artists and people online that just have no followers, that don't get any kind of conversation going. And that doesn't mean they're not good artists. It just means, you know, they're either getting fucked by the algorithm or they don't care about it or whatever. And I think that, again, with design, like it's the same with Pentagram, of all of it. Like, if it's not famous or well known, or it doesn't get like mad coverage on Design Week, then you feel like in some way you've, you know, failed a bit. And it's just like, it couldn't be further from the truth. It's such a sad thing that, you know, we get made to feel like that. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a beautiful segue into your first exhibition, and congratulations for the first.
Thank you. Oh my God, I've had this idea for so long, and then I just thought, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it.
Sick, man. Like, who can tell you anything about that? Like, even if someone didn't like it, I just think it's on some.
Oh no, people tell you if they don't like it. Like, I have members of the public coming out like scoffing at me, like, oh, like so angry. It was really funny because sort of before this happened and I got I have an artist studio now. Before all of that, all of my work pretty much existed like in the realm of Instagram. So I could do it at home. I would post it on Instagram. Generally the people that follow me are the people that would like my work anyway. That's why they follow me. So you're working in kind of like this really unrealistic like silo of people that are fans of you, basically. And then when you put it out to the real world and there's a massive mixed bag of like, you know, ages and backgrounds and all that kind of shit, and then you see their reactions, that's the true reaction, that's like the real reaction, it feels like. And that was mad. I loved it. I hated it. It was awful. Like I couldn't stop cringing. I couldn't even like, you know.
Why though? What is that feeling? I can't. Maybe I'd love to. Maybe yeah. You're fully inspiring me. I think my attitude towards it is like if anyone walks in there, not that I'd take it personally, but it would be a lot more personal to my design work because I can feel like I can justify some of my design work if I don't like it because you're driven by a client. I'm answering a brief.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I didn't want to do this. I just had to.
You coming in and give me some energy, what I've created, and I've had the confidence to part into this fucking world, then you better be prepared to get the smoke. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and like, honestly, I mean, I didn't really help. Like, so obviously I branded the exhibition as well, which is like kind of funny because I think that's a sort of tool I have that maybe a lot of artists don't have, and that's kind of the unique perspective that I kind of try to look at it, you know, in that way now, is that I understand brand and I also understand, like, I would even say marketing to a degree. And like, you know, I always thought maybe one day someone would force me to work in marketing because I love coming up with like lines for stuff. But having that kind of background means that I knew how to get people into the exhibition. I knew how to like make it make sense. It had a narrative. Everything has like little descriptions and like, I feel like I used to think that because I started in design, I was like less of an artist than people that studied art were. And now it just actually makes me think that maybe that's a strength because I can use, you know, the stuff that I've learned in different ways.
I think it's a massive strength that you've managed to break through to the other side. And like, how is that possible, Harriet? Because exactly what we were saying before is design is so objective, and then art is so subjective. That when you start doing subjective things as a designer, you're like, oh, but it doesn't make sense. It's
So
you get scared of it. How did you transition from that? But obviously, is it something that you found in yourself? Because going back to the situation, the Pentagram, where you was like, fuck it, I'm leaving. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna create these signs. You obviously always had that fuck it attitude in you. What is it that allowed you to break to the other side?
I think it was never on purpose. That's the first thing. Like I never sat down one day and thought like, I'm going to change the trajectory of my creative career. Do you know what I mean? It was more like the more and more I did, the more it fell into the category of me expressing my own opinion rather than me trying to express someone else's. And then, you know, people started calling me an artist. Like when I did like a design Q&A for something once, and they referred to me as an artist, and I was like, oh, quite like that. Like that sounds good. And then like I started, you know, when you go to Starbucks and you have to like give a name, and I started like telling people I was an artist like in random places. Like I don't even know, like any opportunity I'd be like, oh, I'm an artist. Like I just started saying it so it became true. Do you know what I mean? Like there was definitely a point when I was saying it that I didn't believe it for a second that I could ever, you know, do art. And I think that like it is so true, and I wish I could tell more people that anything can be as big or as small as you want it to be. You know, you can have this idea to do like the ketchup thing, for example, like that extra saucy thing, that could have been a cartoon on Instagram, you know, and that was it. Or it could have been just a joke someone said at a party. Or it could be a, you know, worldwide Heinz campaign that they used. Obviously, they didn't use it, but it could have been. It could be, you know, it could be a painting. You know, it could be like an oil painting of extra saucy ketchup. Like, that would be a terrible oil painting. But my point is, you can, you know, I think it comes down to like taking yourself seriously as well. Because I find a lot, and I think this is sort of, it goes hand in hand, I think, with working class maybe like syndrome or something, because I definitely grew up around creatives that could, you know, they totally had the ability to like talk about themselves more, to do big things, you know, to like do exhibitions and you know, be a conceptual artist. but I think the sort of lacking like belief, because no one ever told them that, means that I'm probably just going to channel it into like, you know, being a, you know, and I'm not shitting on graphic design at all. I love it and I think it's beautiful, but I think that the danger at universities that are founded in like working class towns and things is that the aim at the end is just to get people employed. Do you know what I mean? And I really felt like that when I left university. Like, if I didn't get a job, that would have been like the biggest failure, I think, for the university, for my parents, for me. Like, it would have felt like the biggest fuck up ever. And I think that drive to get employed, it's brilliant because it works, but also I think it can definitely stunt like creativity in a way. And it's a privilege, obviously. Like, I'm only able to do all of this now because I have worked, you know, and got the money and stuff. But yeah, what I was saying was that I really, really would like to tell the world is it just depends how much you want to put on something. Like, you can reduce anything to be whatever it is. And I think that in doing an exhibition, again, that could have just been a joke I told someone at a party. Like, one of the parts of the exhibition was a toilet cubicle.
Pull it up, Lewis, please.
Okay. Sorry, I've gone into like lecture mode now where I'm getting. I really genuinely believe that, you know, that people don't talk enough about like working class creativity and like how it's seen so differently to, you know, other classes. Anyway, this idea was, so I get warnings on Instagram a lot about like showing my body or like something being provocative or whatever, and it's just a female nipple, right? So my idea with this was to paste a whole bathroom with my boobs and then encourage people to like take selfies in it and then see if it gets banned on Instagram when they upload it. It was called like the world's least Instagrammable toilet selfie. And that's a design concept. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you slap a logo on that and put it in central London, call it an immersive experience for like whatever brand, then it's graphic design. But because it wasn't that, and I told everyone it was art, then it's art. Do you know what I mean? But it's the same thinking, I think. You know, that thinking is no different to the stuff that we were doing at university about like brand work. It's just through a different lens. I'm just asking people to take it seriously.
Yeah.
In a funny way, that obviously it's still boobs.
There's still objectiveness though in the art. Again, like you're going back to everything that your parents would have taught you, going back to university and always thinking about the big idea. I feel like because obviously we've seen this whole journey, we've seen all the toilet selfies, so we see where like this has come from potentially. We saw the time when you found the scanner, and and it's created this, but there's still something objective about it, which is amazing. Like you said, go in there, take the picture, and then you're playing with different levels of things. As like can you take a picture of it? Can it
right? Like, can it spread? Like, will it get banned?
As you would say. Do you know what I mean? So it's, again, you've got this fine line where it's objective, but obviously very subjective at the same time.
Yeah, I guess, like, I take that as a massive compliment, Michael. I think that I guess that's something that, like, obviously art's a massive word and like it can mean so many different things. I have huge respect for artists that, like, the woman in the studio next to me, she does these like big canvas, like huge canvases, and they're just black, like, and I'm like, that's insane. Like, that's so mad that you can just do that. And that's like, do you know what I mean? I think I'm trying to say that I still feel safer doing something with like a solid concept that is understandable by like a wide audience. But she's doing conceptual work, and that means something to, you know, her, and that has a story behind it, and it's mad, and it like, and I just have so much respect for artists that do stuff that isn't like consumable by the masses. And that's what I'm trying to do at the moment. You know, I think for me, the safety net is like, I can get people in a big space, like a large group of people, to understand the work. And maybe that isn't the goal. Do you know what I mean? That's the graphic design training again. Like, you know, does everyone understand it? Does everyone get it? That means it's good. But I'm being critical now, like my own stuff. But yeah, it really was like doing my first exhibition was such a weird breakthrough moment again.
Fantastic, Harriet.
How did it feel? how did it feel? The exhibition is literally you, it's your body, and you're putting it out there. I know you were saying on Instagram like you don't know if you're gonna be hiding in the toilet or whatever.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel as well? Because it's not like you're just putting a black painting. The woman's painting next door. It's not like you're just putting this black canvas out. It's you're literally putting your body out there as well.
That's true.
Like, how did that make you feel with different people? With like you said, it's not your Instagram following anymore. It's everyday person.
Do you know what? I FaceTimed my mum when I'd finished putting it all up. It took me so long to put up. And I think I was a bit like delirious. I FaceTimed her and I was like, Mum, I've just finished like putting up this exhibition. Look. And like, as I turned the camera around, I was like, oh, she's going to see my boobs. Like, it was such like, I totally didn't think about it. And she was like, oh, that's nice. That looks good. Whose boobs are they? And I was like, it's just like just a friend's boobs. Like, I just couldn't do it. So I think it depends on the audience. But then also, sometimes I feel like I'm just finding an excuse to put my boobs somewhere. Like, I think I've never had a problem with nudity or like feeling exposed or whatever. I actually think it's kind of a strength to, you know, again, it feels like a very like English but also working class thing that you don't see people naked. I never saw my family like, you know, we were all like clothed and all the doors had locks and like, do you know what I mean? Like, but now I see it as just like I think because of my upbringing now I feel like, you know, showing myself off in that way, it's really freeing, and it just makes me think like, you know, I think what I'm really trying to say with all of that work is like we're pretty much all the same. Do you know what I mean? And it, like, you know, obviously things look different on different people, but effectively we're pretty much all just like flesh and gross bits and bone and stuff. So I like looking at bodies in that way rather than sexualizing them. Like, another thing I always try and do is I try and simultaneously look hot and also kind of like grotesque, because I think that's quite confusing and it makes men look at the female form hopefully in a different way. Like I take loads of pictures on toilets, like when it looks like I'm having a shit like on a toilet, and if there's a mirror I'll take a picture and like look cute. And I think that sort of very jarring juxtaposition of like, I shouldn't be looking at this, it's gross, but also it's kind of hot. It hopefully makes people like think differently about what they're finding like attractive and stuff. And also, Michael, I won't have good boobs forever. I'm like celebrating the good boob years. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna look back at that toilet and be like, those were the days. They're perky.
Going back to the eyebrows as well, because you mentioned last week that is it the ultimate man repellent?
Yeah, so, I love repelling men and also making them confused about like how they feel. Yeah.
how you feel, because we can't see how you feel because your eyebrows don't go up and down.
That's true. I'm genuinely really, really happy now that we get to talk about making men uncomfortable. Not so much making them uncomfortable, although that is a big joy. It's more like making them question how they think about women. Like, oh my God, the amount of men, by the way, yesterday on Instagram, I posted that I was going to dye my hair blonde. Like, I just posted like the box of the hair dye. And so many men were like, oh my God, fun blonde, can't wait to see it, send me a pic, hot, you know, like whatever. And I was so excited to then post me with no eyebrows, because it's such a letdown for them. Like, it's such a boner killer to be like, oh, it was weird in the end. Do you know what I mean?
It kills me though sometimes, Harriet, because somebody will message you, and I know that they're probably quite weak and fragile, but then you'll repost. No, seriously, but then you'll repost what you said. I'm like, fucking hell, Harriet.
I know, but so okay, I'm gonna let you in on a secret, because the vast majority of the time when I post conversations, what I've done is taken the essence of a conversation I've had with someone, and then I go into Photoshop, rewrite it so it's not exactly the same. I'll use a different image, and it's like an artistic representation of the conversation. Like, I'll never use someone's actual conversation. And that, again, it's not only for the reason that I obviously don't want to like ruin someone's life by, you know, exposing them as a creep online, but it's also because they'll see that this has happened before. They'll see the interpretation of their conversation and be like, lol, I'd never do that. So, you know, and it's like that undeniable, like, I don't know what the word is, like undeniable foolishness, or just inability to connect with like how they are in the world and what they actually think they are. Do you know what I mean? It's just it's so interesting. So actually, nearly every single time that I post a conversation, it's not someone that said it.
I love the one with where you said you were going to message all your ex-boyfriends.
I did not message a single ex-boyfriend, not a single one. I'm not like, I've been in therapy for 4 years. I'm not about to run around and ruin my life. But that's a really good, like, I think that's a good example of like, that's performative online art, right?
Yeah.
And I know that could sound so wanky saying that, but it's true, because I'm trying to get people to engage with the climate crisis in creative ways that other people aren't doing. The amount of people that messaged me and said, oh my God, I have to come along and see this unfurl, like see all your ex-boyfriends, you know, turn up to the protest. And then they came along and were obviously quite disappointed, but they were still there. Do you know what I mean? They still turned out. So instead of using, you know, marketing like ad man thinking to get people to buy more Peppa Pig toys or ketchup, I'm using it to, you know, get people to do meaningful shit.
Yeah. And I guess if people don't know by now that you're often playing games, then it's probably their fault if they've misunderstood.
Well, men don't know. All the women on my Instagram are like, lol, this is so funny, like whatever. And I don't know what it is. Like, I think just existing as a woman is difficult. And like, I know I don't have to sit here and tell you that, like, you obviously know women in your life that have a hard time. And managing just to like have fun with fucking with that idea, or like, you know, there's heavy things that I cover, I think, as well. Like, I was assaulted a few years ago by a random guy. And, you know, I can be serious as well and talk about stuff like that. But I don't find it helpful when all the time, all the conversation is like miserable and hard to engage with, just like the climate. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you're not helping anyone by just being sad or being angry or whatever. It's actually more helpful to, approach things with humor or tits.
100%. 100%. I've been vegan for about 7 years, and I never. It's not something that I really talk about, and I think because a lot of the time when people do talk about it, they talk about it in a very aggressive way. It's not put together in a fun way. When you see the adverts sometimes on like the tube, it's like this picture of a cow, and they just don't,
it's like,
they're missing the joke or the fun that they could have with it. Like Only had fun with it. But what was their ad? It was about how they use milk that's made for humans. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That was the connection.
Yeah.
But all these vegan groups or activists, I'm saying all of them, grouping them all together now.
Yeah.
But they bring veganism. They just bring a lot of bad stigma to veganism.
Yeah, totally.
Everyone that you speak to are like, yeah, fuck you. I'm just going to go and eat a steak then, or whatever.
Yeah.
I've not really got a lot of views on it, but I just sort of keep myself to myself. But you get my point. It's the exact same thing, right?
Yeah, you've just got to go above, like, yes, there's a message, yes, it's important, like, but it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to shove it down someone's throat in a way that's not engaging. I find with those, I know the tube ad you mean, like they have like a sad animal, like a sad looking animal, and it's like, would you really murder me? Thanks. You know, and it's like, well, now you've just ruined my day a bit, and I'm gonna think vegans are really annoying. And
even when I look at that ad, I think, yeah, fuck it, I might as well.
Yeah, fuck it, I might have a steak. It's doing the opposite, exactly. Yeah. That's so true. I love that. It's so, like, there's an example that sticks in my head so much, and it was a girl that was making a TikTok about the Black Lives Matter movement, which is obviously a really important subject. Like, it's brilliant that, like, you know, so many people talk about it. But she's like a gorgeous blonde, like, young woman, and she painted like the BLM like logo on her cheek, and then like did this in the video, and she was like crying, like fake crying. So she had to have like set up a camera, like started crying on the camera, like kind of fakely, and it just made you, instead of think like, oh, that girl really cares about this cause, which she might do, it just looks so inauthentic and honestly pathetic and offensive that it makes you think the opposite of what she wanted to communicate. So it's just using communication that we've learned in, you know, design and applying it to everything. I want to be vegan. I'm going to ask you about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
I did have a cold Big Mac for breakfast, but today might be the day that I start.
Harry, you fucking kill me. I think on all the things in it, it's like having the right incentive and the right messages inside, and but it's just really fucking bad deliverance.
Yeah. Do you know what? Do you know what as well? I've just thought of the best example. When you go to a talk, like, so I do talks sometimes at universities or sometimes just like design stuff. Oh no, have I started breaking up again?
Nah, I think you're good on the bottom.
Oh,
maybe, but
there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, pixelated. Maybe this is all part of the art.
I think you'll be good though. Lewis always says when it usually happens, it's all good in post. So carry on, don't worry.
Okay, fine. Yeah, no, I do talks, and I've been to so many fucking talks where you just want to like leave halfway through because it's so boring listening to someone talk about their life and their work and, you know, all this shit that you've heard 1,000 times before. And credit to people for like getting up on stage and talking about it and sharing their story. But if it's not done in an engaging way, if you're not getting your point across in a way that people will remember or can empathize with, then it's not a good talk. It's not enough just to get on stage and like share your life. I could do that in so many ways where I would just stand there and talk in a monotone voice for an hour about like stuff I've done. But I'm always looking, even with my own life, to like try and make a narrative and make it fun and like get people to understand me in a way that I wouldn't be able to if I was just talking. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although having said that, I've been talking like in a monotone voice for like an hour now on here.
The way you tell us that you're a great storyteller, and I think most good artists, designers, whatever, however they tell the story, the good storytellers. Do you know what I mean? So again,
yeah, it's storytelling. I'm also a liar, like a massive liar. Do you know what I mean? I lie about everything. And you can call that art or like creativity or whatever you want. Like 50% of the shit I've said in this call is not true. No, I'm joking.
Well, people connect to that emotionally, right? And I think everyone listening to this now, whatever it is we're talking about, because of the deliverance of the subject matter is emotionally driven, so to say, from your own experiences.
Right.
Then, you know, people take that for what it is. It's like you said, and then next to I don't know why I always have it in my head, but like a business guy who works in Canary Wharf or something with a big suit on, being like, that's the mundane fucking one pitch. Walking away from. So it's definitely not that.
Yeah.
It's
sorry, I've just started thinking about will.i.am again. Can you believe I met will.i.am yesterday? Isn't that so weird?
This is great. Like this is beautiful. Like these moments now are like coming serendipitously, and it's just you, Harriet. Like every I give or take. Obviously, we listened to that talk that you did at uni. I've heard you talking in other places where possible and stuff like that. And obviously, we know you personally too. So I think it's great.
Thank you.
It's fucking really good. Right. So pulling it back without great.
By the way, he's really, can I just say, he's quite like, he obviously probably won't listen to this. He's kind of like, exactly what you think he would be like if you met him in the smoking area at a party. Like, he had glasses on and it said star on his glasses. And I heard him talking to someone and he was like, hi, they were like, what's your name? And he was like, will.i.am. Like, he was going around saying that he's called will.i.am to people.
What was the gig? Why was he there?
Oh, it was just like a friend's birthday party, but my friend works in like events and knows all these like famous people and shit. Like, it's such a cool job. I didn't know he was going to be there. Like, it was kind of a weird curveball. But yeah, mad. And I kept calling him William, which I think
man like.
Yeah.
It's sick. I think it was right. Did your parents come down for that exhibition for the first one, by the way?
Oh my God, no. The other thing is the exhibition, Christian, was in a public toilet, like an abandoned public toilet.
I know. It's like going to South London is like going on holiday for the day. That's not a good enough excuse not to come.
No, I'm sorry. And also, like, the other thing is, because I didn't know if it was gonna be any good, like literally a day before I put it all up. I didn't tell a single person. I didn't tell anyone. Like, I only told them on the day because I didn't want people to come if it was shit. So no, I didn't tell anyone.
I wasn't here. I don't think I was in Manchester for my mom's birthday, or else I would have been there. I think or something. There was a reason.
Listen, Christian, stop it with your lies.
We just said we all lie, right? Like, can we the scratch card piece recently? So again, moving into the artist, Lewis, if you can pull them bits up.
They're on Instagram. I know you didn't send these over, Harriet, but again, I didn't know this about the public toilet, about that you was going to use it in a way to get people to take pictures, and there was this bigger thing. I mean, obviously, I should have known that, but I didn't know exactly what the story was. So that's why I wanted to pull this up, because I really love this so much, because at the time you were doing this, NFTs were really big, and there was a thing going on with Damien Hirst where you could either have the NFT, which was a digital piece of his art, or you could burn it. Or you have the physical one, sorry. And then you had to make the decision, do you burn the digital one or do you have the physical one?
Right.
And I felt that this played on a very similar sort of idea, but just in the physical world. And I just thought it was really clever. Could you explain?
Yeah, so the background to this is, do you know what FinDom is?
No.
FinDom is financial domination. It's like a kink, basically. And at some point last year, At some point last year, it's one of my favorite kinks because you get paid. And someone last year DM'd me on Instagram and they were like, "Can I send you money?" And obviously, when someone messages me that, I say yeah. So I, towards the end of last year, accidentally got into FinDom, and I would basically just tell men to send me money, and they would send me money. Anyway, it dried up.
They was consistently sending you money?
I got like $2,000.
Yeah.
And they didn't want anything. They didn't want like pictures or phone calls or anything. It was like one or two guys I was doing it with, and all they wanted was for me to message them at random times of the day and be like, "Send me 200 quid now, you piece of shit." Anyway, maybe that's TMI.
You seen Euphoria? It's that thing. Have you seen?
Yeah. But kind of like that. But I didn't.
Extreme. You know what I mean? But I hear
Yeah. But I really got into it because I just loved the like dynamic of it. Like I think it's such an interesting dynamic that who's playing who, because I'm obviously doing what they want me to do.
Yeah.
But then they're sending me their money, and like, you know, I'm telling them that they're a piece of shit. Anyway, totally kind of off topic, but the FinDom dried up, as it always does. And then I was like, that was a really interesting part of my life where I was like messing with power dynamics across like, you know, genders and whatever, and financially. And this piece of work came from that, because I was like, would you give someone a lottery ticket not knowing if it was a winner or not? And I think that a lot of the time the answer is no, because if you know, imagine the sort of power you're handing over to someone if you give them something that could change your life.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this piece of work, I wanted to design something that you could only buy from me by giving me like unscratched valid lottery scratch cards. So I designed a poster which was like a really, really, really high res scan of the tiny little symbols that you get on here that you have to like match up. And they're kind of, I've always loved them because they're such a weird reductive way of looking at what wealth is. Like it's always like a nugget of gold, a shopping bag, you know, like a cigar. They're like such funny symbols of wealth. So I've always enjoyed them. I blew them up really massive to like A1 or something.
Looking for it. Sorry.
So you could only buy them from me by giving me 50 scratch cards. And 5 people have done it so far. They like sent me, you know, 50 scratch cards in the post, and then I would send them the print, and then I would send them like a little certificate of how much it ended up costing, like how much they ended up paying for the artwork. So 50 scratch cards is £100, which isn't, you know, unreasonable, I think, for like a massive print. But you could end up, you know, paying 250k for it if, you know, if you get lucky or unlucky, depending on how you look at it. But funnily enough, guys, they've all been under £100 in value. Like I had a suspicion that the likelihood of getting like a big winner is low, and it is very low, let me tell you. I've scratched how many? What's 50 times 5? 250 scratch cards.
Yeah.
And I've not got more than like, you know, like 60 quid per round. But I really like it because like it's not really about the money, even though I would absolutely love to win £250,000. It's about like giving up power and, you know, that sort of transfer of you know, responsibility and power. I love it.
Yeah,
that's so cool because going through that experience, your Findom experience,
My Findom phase.
Your Findom phase, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I could have a Findom phase.
Listen, we can all have a Findom phase. If you're feeling it, do it. People love sending money. Get on FetLife. Get on FetLife.com. Not sponsored. Wish I was. Search Findom. Get into it.
We're on it.
Say no more.
We're on it.
It's really, do you know, I must say as well, I always think about, like, I've had boyfriends in the past that were really, really controlling, and that's, you know, as much my fault as it was theirs. You know, I was obviously looking for these like unhealthy relationships, and it gave me something, and like whatever. But doing these things now, I just love it because I know how much they would just absolutely hate it.
Parenting, or how they would parent. Right. It's just become it's like a new world.
Yeah.
Where was I going with that?
Listen, even that is just good.
Well, I don't know.
Where was I going with that?
You just said even on this parenting thing, and I don't want to make it all about parenting. But,
then I was going to continue talking about parenting, then I lost my train of thought.
Oh no, we can come back to it.
Okay, we'll come back to it.
You made me think something which is also children, like naturally, this is just how humans are. If they don't know something, or they've not been told something, or they think something's going on, they'll make a narrative up. So I was sure there was like terrible stuff going on in my house, you know, like, and there wasn't. And, you know, now I have the knowledge that I was just trying to make sense of this like anxious feeling that we were hiding things, and the things we were hiding weren't a big deal. It was like, you know, probably my parents had sex, or like I don't know, a family member had depression or something, and like it feels so much bigger when you're a child that things are being hidden from you. My mum got cancer a few years ago, and they didn't tell me like immediately. They didn't tell anyone, but they didn't tell me immediately. They only told me because my mum's hair was going to start falling out, and like they couldn't hide it anymore. And like, I'd much rather know this stuff and be able to deal with it as an adult, rather than getting hit by a car and like, you know, metaphorically, and being like, fuck, how did I not see that coming, and how am I going to handle that now? And we don't talk about things. So yeah, I would just, that's my one thing that I would do. And I don't have shit parents. They're brilliant. You know, they've given me so much. Everyone's parents are going to fuck them up in different ways. Mine, you know, Go on.
It's just come back to me. It's come back to me. Everyone, relax.
Tell me.
Kevin Hart.
Right.
Here we go. He gave some advice on parenting, and he said that in day-to-day life he is dad, but when they must have a conversation, he can say, okay, you can talk to me, like pretend I'm not your dad, and they have a separate conversation, and anything goes. But when it turns back to dad, like dad can't comment on those things.
Right.
So I thought that was really nice.
That's a nice way. Yeah, definitely. Because you separate, like, even in doing that, like you still enabling the conversation. It doesn't matter how you do it. I think separating like dad and guy you talk to about stuff that's really interesting. Yeah. I mean, also, I'm saying all of this, Michael, I don't have children, and I'm sure when I have them, I'm going to be like, I'm not talking about sex with my 12-year-old daughter. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah, probably not.
What's that?
I said probably not.
Yeah. I'll probably like
parenting rabbit hole for so long, and I can see Christian staring at me like, "Come on, let's just fucking talk about some design."
Jesus, I did put it on me, bro. I'm along for the ride.
No, it's not Harriet. What's your thoughts on AI?
AI will not take over the world. Here's why. Here's why AI won't take over the world. Because you can just unplug it. No, I'm joking. Because it doesn't have the skills and emotional intelligence that humans have, and also people just get bored of it. I know this is going to age terribly, and that they'll like play this back and laugh at the fact I said people get bored of it. But I think in ways like the computers did, or mobiles did, they just become integrated in society in a way that would hopefully enable us to do more rather than hold us back if it's used in the right way. The only thing about AI is they need to come up with some laws around it ASAP. Because if I want my naked body online, I'll post it myself. I don't want some like deep fake with boobs that aren't as good. Do you know what I mean?
And I also feel like they need to make it more approachable for the average person. I fucking hate the term AI. I just need it's scary. It's scary as fuck, man. Like explain that to me, Nana. Do you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Not having it. You know, my mum and dad have just been Cornwall, right, for think Yuki, wherever it was, and they're stressing because they can't physically put money into a thing to park the car, and they have to do it
the app
through an app. Do you know what I mean? That is fucking terrifying for my parents, and sometimes it's uncomprehendable for us who are developing and growing with the world. You know what I mean? Naturally, you know, like. So I think, it's making it like exactly what you said, making it usable in a way where it's emotional and also adaptive to to all people in a less.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. It alienates so many different groups. I find that with, like, for example, contactless cards and payments, like you just said, or apps or whatever. There's such a big, a large group of people that either can't use things like that or don't have the means to, or don't understand it, and it's so alienating. And I think that's the danger with so many things in the world, not just AI. It's not that it's like, it is dangerous if it's in like the wrong hands, but I think less about being dangerous. It's more dangerous that it's alienating groups. Like, I refuse to eat in restaurants now that only take card, that don't take cash, just because I'm like, what if you are old and don't have a contactless card, or like, it's fucked that all these innovations happen and you leave behind the people that need the help the most.
Yeah, it really does. Like, do you know what I mean? It leaves them completely out of the conversation.
Yeah,
like,
it's mad.
It's terrible. Like I said, it's scary for me. Like, I had a situation yesterday, right? Completely off topic, but on topic. But because of the way things are at with the media and everything in AI, right? Some lady, I was walking home from the shop yesterday. I was listening to an audiobook, right? I was in my own little world. Some lady had stopped me and she was like, excuse me. She was like, do you mind helping me? I've got no credit on my phone. I'm trying to find the Methodist church down the road. Do you mind searching it for me on your phone? Like, yeah, obviously. Do you know what I mean? Anything.
Yeah.
And I was looking on my phone. I got it up on City Mapper, and then she took a picture. She was like, "Can I take a picture of it? Take a picture of the Google Maps." I said, "Yeah, okay, yeah, of course." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, can I ring a number? And then I started getting really anxious and really panicked that, like, has she just scanned my phone or something? And then I came home and I fucking melted to what Lewis had been out on Friday night. I'm on Lewis's door. Lewis, someone just scanned my identity. And that's me. Do you know what I mean? And all week I've been listening to on the news, right, about fucking ticket frauds and all this kind of things being apples for apples with what you get as a confirmation receipt. And my original point with my mum and dad keep getting these texts and everything that look, as designers, we know it's
but not all the time. They get better though as well.
They're getting fucking better. You know what I mean? And they get me at my most vulnerable moments, potentially, when I'm walking home from Tesco with my big shop. Just and scam my life away.
It's like, I think if we all just cared a bit more about not alienating groups in society, then the world would definitely be a better place for sure.
Really interesting. I think, Lewis, just pull that piece up that Harriet's recently done on Instagram as well. I think that's a really nice kind of take.
Oh, no, which one?
There is a post, right, Michael, that we were talking about before.
Yeah, the AI, the one where he's using generative AI for.
Fucking AI. Because I also feel like if I'm not using it, I'm not part of the party. Do you know what I mean?
I love the print though.
I think if I was born like 200 years ago, I would have been a philosopher or something, because I always I think my main love is just coming up with like random, mad, deep lines.
I read that about your dad in not about your dad, something your dad said in I can't remember what book it was, and he said, if I went back to university now, I'd study psychology, I'd study these 5 different subjects, be a designer last or something.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's that, isn't it? Yeah.
Man, imagine if I was like a philosopher. That's mad. I don't know if do people even do that anymore? Like, who's coming up with the wisdom? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. This was just like, again, go on, what?
You used to go back to Starbucks and put it out there. Yeah, I'm a philosopher.
Yeah, exactly. I might just start saying that. Like the next one will be like Harriet the philosopher. It's funny, this one, because like a lot of the time I find with my work, I'm just trying to find a way of conveying like a nice sentence. Do you know what I mean? Like this doesn't really need much more than just like a nice piece of type. But then saying that, it could look like I bashed it together in 1 minute. But then choosing the right font that looks like it could be from ye old ages, you know, it is a bit like philosophy vibes, but it also is modern, like it's cut in a way that you can tell that it was like, you know, designed for screen and stuff. So yeah, and then I just filled it with loads of horrible AI interpretations of what art is.
So do you just screen record doing this, or do you?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like I always there's this is credit to my current boyfriend. I like to call him current, so he's on his toes. Do you know what I mean? My current boyfriend made me realise that the thing standing in between me doing what I want to do and being able to do it is just doing it. Like he went to a university where they were basically, it was like an art school, and they were told like, you know, just do it then. You can just do whatever you want. And I always thought there's no way I could ever animate anything because I don't know how to animate. And then I was like, oh, I can just screen record. That is an animation. So anyway, that was a bit of a detour. But
nice.
Yeah, and like fuck, it's ugly. Like it is so ugly.
I love it.
And it's probably unnecessary as well. I think the first version with nothing on it is nicer than this one, but it was more just, you know, to demonstrate the point that it doesn't know what the fuck it's doing, and it's still totally dependent on human input, whether that's the way it's been trained or the way it, you know, interacts with people now. Life imitates art, AI imitates both.
Clever.
There.
I love it.
But then again, like it's so important, and I'll say this with everything, like that could be a marketing line for Samsung that I got paid, you know, a mil to come up with, but I don't want it to be that. You know, people always used to tell me, go into marketing, you'll make a killing, like you should sell your talent, whatever, for brands. And although it's painful and I would love to live in a nice big house and have a car, I can't do it. I can't sit there and pretend I give a fuck about all these brands or making money or whatever. I don't.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Listen, when AI Harriet is created in like 2 years and it starts like working in marketing, coming up with these like mad lines, I might take it back.
I think so. Where this is like, so obviously you're still on this journey. You're an established artist. We've established this.
Am I an established artist now?
Yeah, we're putting that out there.
I'm just an artist in Starbucks, but yeah.
But now, obviously, like you said, we're still doing the design thing. So you just set up your own company.
Good Richardson. Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit more about this.
Okay, so this came about because I obviously live in the real world and I can't make a living from art, as I think a lot of artists can't do. Or if they do, you know, it's a mad skill to be able to like monetize, again, your work enough to be able to do that. And I also don't really feel like I want to do that yet, because it will change what I'm doing. You know, it'll make it feel like I have to be creative and an artist and like, you know, sell what I'm doing. So I recognized that and thought, I still love design and I still know it, and I obviously trained in it and it has a special place in my heart. So I want to work in design, but I want to work for people and companies that aren't shitty, like that actually care about things, that, you know, see a future that is possible, you know, to create, that doesn't involve like suffering or the death of the planet or whatever. And it's as difficult as it sounds, you know, to find. It is difficult, but it's also totally achievable, I think. And so I work with a few different clients at the moment. I have a retainer that I love. That's working in something called ESG, which I didn't know what that was, but it's a sustainable consultancy. So you can find these brands, they do exist, that, you know, want to do good and have generally a good ethos and stuff. And yeah, I'm making money, which is the other benefit. And, you know, it's not perfect 100% of the time. Oh my God, I've not even done like 9 posts yet on Instagram because, you know, it's hard to keep up with shit like this. Yeah, if I'm mainly actually doing the work, so I'm not really doing the Instagram at the moment. But I suppose like there's still the theme of there's an idea in pretty much everything that I do, whether it's obvious or not. And and it's just, you know, I'm just trying to sort of prove what I hoped was true, which is that you can do good work for good people and still, you know, be able to make dinner and live in a nice flat and stuff. So, yeah, I encourage more people to do it. I think it's a lame excuse to be like, you know, I always hear people saying, if someone didn't do the design for X, you know, if someone didn't do the design for BP, someone else would do it. Like if I didn't do the design, someone else would do it. And it's like, that's like saying if I didn't murder someone in the street, someone else would do it. Like you can't just, that's such a rubbish excuse. I've heard it so many times. And I think setting out to prove that you can do conscious, you know, progressive work for good people, it's a much better thing to do than just accept defeat before you've even tried.
Yeah.
So, and I've come across so many, like, you know, so many companies that I've spoken to, or, you know, I did a bit of freelance or whatever. They always say they want to, but the difference between what they say and how they act and the action they take is so vast. It's so like, they basically may as well say, we would love to appear as if we care about this. So if you could do that, that'd be great. Yeah. But also, please work for these mad corporations.
Yeah, so they're the bread and butter clients.
Yeah, and like, I get it. It's fine. Like, obviously, you know, even me saying this now, it's a luxury that I get to pick and choose the clients that I want to work with and stuff. But I've worked to get here. You know, I've done things that I'm not proud of. Yeah. Not so much Findom, but more like, you know, working for Shell when I worked at Landor, or I think it was BP. It was one of the oil, you know, giants, and I had to do some billboards, whatever. And I would love to have said no then, but I didn't have the means to. I couldn't, you know, I was like a poor student. Like, I guess I could have done, but it's just, you don't feel like you're in that position then. I'm in that position now where I can say yes or no. And there's so many creative directors and owners and bosses that can say no and they don't. And I have no respect for them. And I'm going to demand that they send me money. That's hot.
And now you're not doing, you know, obviously it's not a free, you're not taking no bookings, are you just on your own? And then if you need help, are you working with freelancers and stuff like that or anything, or is it just purely you at the minute?
It's a mix. I mean, I work with my current partner sometimes, like we help each other out with what we're doing, and I've got some really talented, you know, designer friends that I'll work with as well. It just totally depends on the project of, like, you know, I can't animate, for example, or, you know, if I want to speak to someone about ideas and things, I've definitely got people I can pull from, and I would love to be in a position where I can like actually employ people, and, you know, I've had people wanting to do placements and stuff, and I can't get them to like just come and sit here with me. Do you know what I mean? It sounds a bit cancelable. So I want to grow it, but then it takes time. I don't want to do anything rushed, and I certainly don't want to sell out at any point. So I think it's just going to be a slow grower, but yeah, something I'm proud of and like happy to be doing.
Oh, good for you, Harriet. Amazing.
It sounds very purposeful and awesome.
Thanks. You know, I am a bad person as well in like so many other ways, but
well.
You say that.
Who is Bad Richardson?
I'm gonna
listen. That's where I can be my true self. I don't give a fuck about the climate. No, I'm joking. No, I think like it's really interesting because people get really offended. I think like the first reaction I see when I tell people that I'm trying to like do good stuff for the world is like they're offended. They feel like personally attacked that you're good and they're not, or whatever. And I know I joke about it, but of course I'm bad as well. Do you know what? Everyone is. Like, something I see generationally, like a difference between my generation and like my parents' generation is, I think my parents' generation thinking quite like, and this is totally, obviously I'm generalizing, caveat, not everyone's like this, but the trend is they think kind of like in black and white, you know, like, oh my God, are you pulling up Bad Richardson?
Trying to be, but like
this is my safe space. No, so they thinking like black or white, like yes or no, you're a good or a bad person, you're either a paedophile or not. Do you know what I mean? But there's everyone has dimensions, everyone's bad and good, everyone does stupid shit and clever shit, everyone, you know, has hurt someone before and been lovely to someone before. And I think that in doing good work, I have to have an outlet where I can do bad stuff as well, and that is Bad Richardson. And all it means is, I mean, I'm literally just posting myself naked most of the time. And to be totally honest, I set this up because my other Instagram keeps getting like, they keep threatening to ban me and like take it all down. So I thought if I test things on here, like that boob poster, for example, and if they ban this one, then that doesn't matter too much because it's like, you know, not my main one. But it's just, yeah, I think it's just really a place where I can be me.
I love the conversation you're having with yourself as well in the comment section.
It's funny.
Yeah, no, that's just when I'm not therapy for a while. Like, I've had friends text me and they're like, "Are you okay? You're on like a downward spiral," and I'm like, "These are things that people do all the time. Everyone talks to themselves all the time. Do you know what I mean? I'm just doing it out loud online."
Really
Yeah.
Awesome. I think a nice thing to finish on would be trying to play one of them squiggle games somehow.
Oh my God, let's do it.
So,
how do we do it?
Right, but can I just pause for a second because I really need a wee?
Yeah, of course.
Just give me 1 second. Louis will cut this out.
Wait, I'm gonna get a snack because I think I might be dying. 1 second.
Pause for a sec.
A few moments later.
Right, so I think a beautiful way to end this pod would be to do one of these duel games, but obviously you're gonna have to lead it and direct it and direct.
I will do.
So hit us.
But how do we do it? How should I do it? Like, should I do it on? I was thinking I could like. Can I draw on here? Like, is there like an interactive drawing bit?
Lewis, is there anything like? So I think Lewis. I know Lewis has to duck it, so we've got 20 minutes to to play. Nothing interactive. All right, mate.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a squiggle. We're playing the squiggle game. This is like the core game that I used to play. Yeah. So I'm gonna do a squiggle. I'm gonna send it to you, like on email or in this chat, and then you've got to drag it into Illustrator and make it into something. Yeah.
Right. All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, you can just hold it up to the camera if that's easiest for you.
Oh, let's do that. I'll do that. Yeah, that's even better. I don't have to open Illustrator.
We'll just redraw the squiggle really quickly.
Okay. No, you have to screen grab it. You can't cheat.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, screen grab it.
Screen grab it and then do it in.
I'll do it in Illustrator really quickly.
Okay. Oh my God. When I stand up, I realize how hungover I am. You know, when you like, when the room moves. Okay. So I'm going to do a squiggle and then you have to make it into something using like the least amount of, you know, like shapes and stuff.
Right. Have you got Illustrator on? You got Illustrator open, Michael?
Oh, wait. Oh.
And you both have to do the same one. I want to see what you make it into.
Wait a second. Why have I got a question mark on my Illustrator?
But do Photoshop. Do anything or notes, anything that you can draw in will be sweet then. But I think it's when you got to update it on Creative Cloud or something.
I'm gonna do 3.
Pressure's on, really. I put bare pressure on myself here.
Yeah, you have. If it's shit, then you're not coming to my party.
Shit.
That's real. That's true.
Lewis, screen grab it as well and do it as well, please. Put some pressure on Lewis.
I've like outdone myself here. Like they're good squiggles.
Let's see.
Are you ready?
Right. Yeah, I'm good. Go on, hit me.
Michael, are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to hold it up. You've got to screen grab it, make it into something, then show me. Okay?
Okay.
While I'm trying to not bomb. Right. Here's the first one.
Oh, sick.
You see that?
Yes. Oh, these are good. Wait. Right, got it.
Got it, Michael?
Yeah, got it. That's really sensible as well, because I thought there's a very easy way that you could start drawing dicks here, and I don't want it to become that.
I would never. How dare you? I'm going to have a bite of my chocolate apple.
Are we timed? Do we have
We've got 10 seconds left.
Fuck off, really?
Oh, I haven't fucking started.
Right, so I'll draw over it in pink in it so you can see the things. I've just got
9, 8.
Wait a second, wait.
6,
I've not even got my fucking suit.
Wait. We'll start at the same time. So tell us when we can go in it. I'm just getting my book.
Okay.
It's got to be the least. Has it got to continue on the squiggle?
Michael, stop asking questions. Just get in the vibe.
Do I just do what I want?
Just do what you want. Make it into a thing. It has to be a thing. Okay. It can be an animal, a person, a dick. Michael's having a meltdown in his caravan.
I have a meltdown.
And I'll make it into a thing as well because I'm a narcissist.
Why is my paintbrush not working? Fuck's sake.
I need a lighter. Lad, have you used Illustrator before?
I'm not using it.
Right, I've done it.
Have you done it?
I've done one, but fucking I'll keep playing for a sec.
Okay, then we have to show them.
Wait, my pencil's not using. Oh, fucking hell, man.
Ooh. Oh shit, I can't even do my own one.
Lewis, you better be doing it as well.
Okay, done?
Wait a second.
Mine's alright. This is sick.
Has it got to be one line?
No, you can do as many lines as you want.
All right, amazing.
Are you doing like the Mona Lisa?
Yeah, I was, but I'm going to start again.
Christian, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
How are you going to show me?
I'll share my screen. I mean, it's a bit of a push, but I think we'll get there.
No, I like it. We've got 2 more of these to do, Michael, and I have to go home for Christmas.
Fucking hell, Mike.
Christian, don't add to it.
I'm not adding to it.
You don't like you fiddling.
I've done 2. I've done 2.
Star student.
You done
Michael's
2
just
what?
opening Illustrator.
All right, I'm good.
Right,
Okay,
right,
sure, come on.
Right, let me share a screen. I'll go first.
Yeah.
Share screen and camera entire screen. So I seen like a shoe, like a boot. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, nice! Look at that.
You know
That's
what
all
I'm saying?
creative.
Feels like a prop, like a big ass boot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with you. Nice.
And then the other one I did was like a cityscape. I felt like
yeah. You're good.
That's
a bit good.
Mediocre. Well, the boot was alright. I thought the boot was alright.
The boot's sick. The boot's so nice. Let's see yours, Michael.
Oh God. All right.
And Lewis.
So this is probably because my son's always playing with toys. So I saw a little truck.
Oh, wait. Oh yeah, I love it. Cute. That is so cute. I love it.
You've got 2 wheels here.
Yeah. I'm with you.
As well, now looking at it now, it feels like a tractor as well. Do you know what I mean? Kind of. Yeah, I love it.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice.
I've done someone listening to music. Mine's not that good.
Oh, it's pretty sweet though. Fuck's sake, Harriet. Do you know what I mean?
Isn't that funny? But isn't it so fun? Huh? Yeah, that's just what I do all the time.
That one's good. You can make a fucking illustration series from that, Harriet.
Wait, can I give you another one? Lewis, have you done one?
Wait, I think Lewis has done one as well. Let's see, Lewis.
Lewis, my man.
My man!
No way, look at that. Very good.
I love it, lad.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, go on, hit us. Nice.
Right, next. This one's weird.
That one is weird.
Got it?
Yeah.
Was that? Yeah, good.
Yeah, I actually think it's easier to do them with your eyes shut sometimes. If you just do a random squiggle, just don't think about it too much.
It's such a fucking fun game, Harriet.
It's good, isn't it? And we would play it all the time, just waiting in restaurants for food or in a car, just whenever we had time. And I didn't realize it was going to be such a formative part of my, childhood. Because it really is. That's spotting things in things. That's coming up with logos and be doing conceptual toilet-led exhibitions.
Yeah, looking for shape and shape.
What it all boiled down to.
I love this shit.
I'm impressed though. 10.
Wait.
Oh, wait a second.
Look at you both. This is so fun. Yeah, I feel like I want to do a workshop or something one day with it. I do it in universities when I'm teaching, but maybe I'll do I want to do an It's Nice That or something.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. I'll definitely do it with my kids. I always remember the one you used to say as well with the Christmas cards.
What's that?
At Christmas, where you
we do Christmas card X Factor. That's the fucking lamest design game ever, and I love it. What we do is at Christmas we get like all the cards that got sent to us from like family and friends or whatever. People send less now, but there's normally about like 20 or 30. And then we we do like X Factor where there's rounds, and we judge them on like typography, Christmassiness, like texture.
That's a good one, you know.
And then we do like a sort of like showdown at the end, and then we get like the top 3, and then we call the person who it was like on Christmas Day, and we're like, congratulations, you came second in the Christmas card competition. And they're normally like, please stop calling us.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, we do that every year. It's very serious. Right, come on. That's more than enough time.
Yeah, mine's a bit weird on this one. I thought there might be like a penny farthing in there with that big circle, but
that's a classic. The penny farthing is like any shape is a penny farthing.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's a bit weak in it, so I've gone with like an abstract tiny dancer. Right, let me show you. I don't think mine's that good as okay now. I went with like a weird little kind of.
Let me make it big. Oh yeah, okay, no, I get it.
Oh, it's not as successful as the first one. It's not
I like it. Look at him.
Cool.
It's very minded, this one, but
street dance. I love it.
Even for mine's such a graphic designer's approach. Okay, it's boring.
Wait, I didn't see it. Have you shared it?
You need
to. Michael, 1 point, like maybe 0.5 points for this one. I know there's no such thing as a bad idea. This is a bad idea. I'm joking. I'm just being mean.
Yeah.
I'm in my femdom phase again.
It's a 10. 10.
It's a 10.
10. Well, we got
which is ironic because it gets a 2. Right, try better. Wait, have we got another one?
Lewis.
Sorry, I'm being really mean.
Oh, Lewis!
Yeah. Lewis, that's sick.
Oh, he's fucking alright at this.
Yeah, that's good. That is good.
Well, I've been, I mean, he's been over my shoulder for the past 2 years living with me.
I know. So right, final one.
Full credit.
You ready? Final.
Yeah, nice. The lovely little squiggles as well. What's that?
Oh, I've had a lot of practice.
Very calligraphy-esque. Do you know what
I
mean?
Thank you.
Like
calligraphic.
Your ones remind me of like Gail's illustration style. Do you know when you get?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that one that you just did first. Like fucking when really nice.
Thank you. And you can turn it around as well. Like if you can't think of it one way, just turn it around like do something.
No way.
Oh, this one's hard. The hangover's getting to me now, guys. There's definitely a time pressure element because you feel like if you spend too long on it, it's not like.
Oh, I've got a fucking good one for this. Bah! What, bruv?
No. Also, shall I tell you what the cheat ones are that you're not like that we banned in our house?
One.
You're not allowed to do roller coasters because you could just like do a little roller coaster part on like anything.
Fuck a roller coaster. I think the most successful ones is like you said before about a logo, the one where you need to add just a little thing to make it.
Yeah, add the least.
Yeah. I've got a good one here.
Mine's shocking.
I think.
Okay.
I mean, my illustration doesn't really do it. I'm not going to put the.
Stop fiddling, Chris.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it pure.
Mine's terrible. Oh my god. I don't think I can even show you this. Okay. How's everyone doing?
I'm good, mate. Being good.
Michael?
One sec.
Why did you stop getting called Mike? I knew you as Mike at uni. Did you change it?
No, for you just decided to call me Michael.
I always
because Christian calls you Michael.
I like a full name. I like
a full name. Christian.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Same with Daniel. Like I always call Daniel.
Yeah, I do like that. Okay. Christian?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. Right. Going with dog yoga.
No, that's good.
I shouldn't have put the foot really.
That's really good.
But like,
the foot helps. The foot helps.
You know what I'm saying? But that's a perfect put. And again, right, that inspires me, right, for a fucking yoga project.
Yeah,
All illustration style is that being flexible and loose.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Oh man, that's good.
Boom.
Very good. That's so much better than mine. Michael. I could do this all day.
That's so good.
Talk us through it.
If it needs talking through, then you know it's not good.
Do you know what? I like it.
No, it's there. Do you know what I mean? It's there, bro.
It's very clearly a fish with a hairstyle.
With a bit of momentum.
I mean, that was his tail. Just,
yeah. Oh, yeah. No, sorry. I thought that was his hair. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, or his hair. That's what I do when I present something really bad and someone will go, "Oh yeah, I like how you've done that with the hair." I go, "Yeah."
Yeah, thanks. Exactly. That was all I'm going to show you mine. Mine's really bad.
Wait.
Mine's just like a person wearing glasses. But I added a lot. I think when you add a lot, it's not good.
Yeah, you need to put a ban on Picasso fences too.
Yeah. I like the lines. Again, I think there's something that if you can draw, I'm shit at drawing, you know what I mean? But if you can draw to communicate.
Christian, no one's shit at drawing.
Take it back. But my line aesthetic isn't that clean, so to say. Lewis, hit us, bro.
Oh, you went with the nose. Yeah, lovely.
Do you know what I mean?
I love it. Yeah. It's so nice to see what people do with like the same shape as well. Do you know what I mean?
Listen, Harriet, this has been fucking fantastic.
I've had so much fun. Thank you so much for having me and for not shouting at me about my hangover because it's definitely setting in.
Thanks for like not shouting at us for like cutting in and do you know what I mean, and whatever else.
You didn't cut in. It was brilliant. I've honestly had such a nice time talking to you. I could talk to you for hours. It's just it's so nice to stop as well and be able to talk about stuff because I think a lot of the time, especially like the way I work, I just like plow on. Do you know what I mean? And it's nice to be able to stop and see where I am. Yeah.
You know what? That's a common thing that we speak to everyone about. That's what everyone says, isn't it?
Really, that they can just stop. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing because, like, I know you do these things on a regular, but we hopefully try.
I like it.
Active and and it's that moment in time in it where, like, obviously you've got an horizon that you're looking towards, and everyone's got goals and stuff. But it's a beautiful thing to stop exactly where you are and reflect on how far. Like, it must be so rewarding to be able to tell us them stories of where you've got to now, and it's like. No, it's the next thing for the next 10 years, so to say.
It's funny because I have the same thing that I think the majority of people have, but definitely students that I talk to, where I literally feel like I've not done anything, like I've not achieved anything, I've not done anything of any worth, like what have I got to show for it, basically? And then, it's never true. Like even in your first week of uni, you've got something to show for it and you've become a different person in a week. So there's no way that anyone can get through life and not change and like grow. But yeah, I hear that so much. And when I say to them, I feel the same, I can tell they don't believe me, but it's true. Yeah. Will.i.am feels the same. Let me tell you, that man has some hang-ups.
I bet he does, I bet if you asked him last night and you had that conversation, I bet he still feels like he's got so much more to fucking push for and expand on.
I was asking him what he does for work. Like, and I knew who he was, but I was like, I'm not going to give him I'm not going to like stand here and tell him my first gig was Black Eyed Peas, which it was.
What did he say when you asked him?
No, I didn't tell him that. Oh, when I asked him what he does for a job, he just like laughed, and I was like, you can't. Do you know what I mean? You can't laugh. What if I don't know who he is? Yeah.
Funny. Right. Well, so you've got an exhibition now, yeah?
I'm going to go and see. Oh. On the topic of exhibitions, 2 exhibitions that everyone should see. The first is, oh my God, I can't remember anything. What on earth was I just talking about? Oh yeah, the first exhibition that everyone should see is Marina Abramovich at the RA.
Okay.
That changed my life. Nice. I saw it like 2 weeks ago. Nice. Fuck me, she's a good artist. Like,
Lewis, just pull it up in the background, please.
Marina Abramovich. So I used to think that performative, like contemporary art, was bullshit, and like that could not be further from the truth. Like the stuff that she does is insanely good. Like you have to go and see it. I don't want to ruin the surprise for you because there's loads of like parts that you can interact with, but you just have to go.
Okay.
Nice. And then the one I'm seeing today, which I think is going to be really good, is at the Tate.
Britain.
Yeah, I think so. Wait, let me.
The lady who does all the sculptures on chairs and that.
Exactly, Sarah Lucas. Sarah Lucas.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going at 2 p.m, so I better get my act together and get some food in my stomach.
Awesome. Me and Georgia are going to it next Saturday.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really good. And like that's another thing about London. Like it's so easy to stay in my house for like 3 weeks solid, which I do sometimes, and I don't advise it. But like getting out and going to see something like that, even if you're in a bad mood, it's just like it's so worth it.
Yeah, it really is. Oh yeah, when it's on your doorstep and it's so accessible.
Yeah, I'll let you know when my next exhibition is, Christine, so you can bail on it.
Oh, you're killing me.
No one came. No, that's not true.
No, I will make sure I get my lunch packed and venture over to South more often. And
yeah, definitely.
We'll do it for your party that's coming up soon.
Yay!
And we can find you on handles at Good Richardson,
Hats Richardson,
and
Bad Richardson
as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, Lewis will put these links all in, and then I can imagine there's website links that come from that too, right? Which is good.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So
don't worry about it.
But he usually puts them all in my hands when we finish.
Oh, nice. Okay, I like that.
Try. Thank you, Harriet, for your time.
Thank you.
We will be in touch.
Thank you so much. I have had a thoroughly enjoyable time.
Thank you, very.
See you later.
Nice one, Harriet.
Bye.
Close the lid. That's the way we do it.
What do I do? Close the lid.
Close the lid. Yeah, that's how we like people to go.
Lad, fucking hell, bro. I felt like Joe. That was good. Do you know what I mean? Jesus Christ. I'm like, whoa. That was a good one. That
was a really good one.
2.5 hours, lad. 3 hours, lad. Nearly 3 hours. Right, Lewis, I know you've got a duck now, haven't you, bro? Just come on the screen. Come on as a voice. Hi, Lewis.
Hello, Lewis.
What's happening? Thank you very much for today, lad. And putting a face behind the mask. This is Lewis, who brings everything up.
Oh, it ain't recording my face, lad.
What?
I just put a little screen grab on myself, yeah.
Some mad reverb going on.
Oh, mate, is it? What about now?
Speak again. You have to keep speaking.
Hello.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
You okay?
Just close your face, Lewis.
Yeah, but yeah, you can. I think we'll put the "What Does Your Mum Think" logo over your face or something like that.
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, nice.
I love how you're the producer, right? And in the background, you've got like a hat and like ladders, and it feels like do you know what I mean? He's like chipping away in the background.
You're supposed to see all this.
But listen, today was great, and thank you for being so on it. I felt like I was working with Jamie on Joe Rogan. I could tell you was really engaged to that one today. So, and again for the times, lad, and everything. I know you got to go work now and do your thing. So thank you, Michael, for making time in the fucking thing, and thank you to myself for getting up this morning and being on the best energy I could possibly be on.
Thanks my mum and dad for providing my new office.
If you are listening, please do like, share, and subscribe. We're trying to make these as fucking we can't. I'm not promising, but like we're trying to make them as frequent as we possibly can. If you would like to be on the pod, hit us up. If you, like I said on LinkedIn not so long ago, if you don't hit us up, we'll probably hit you up anyway. And yeah, please listen out for us. We're really enjoying these things. I feel so lit up, lad. I want to go and do some shit, you know, every time I leave one of these. So hopefully everyone else feels like that. And yeah, have you got any words for the people, Michael?
Have I got any words for the people? Just stay safe out there.
Stay safe out there. Keep smiling and keep doing shit. And just draw. Do you know what I mean?
Just draw. Yeah, that's something I need to practice.
Just draw. Like, share, subscribe. Please help us out, trying to help you out, and we'll be back.